SyndereN. I know you're going to disagree, but this is one of the heroes that NA has introduced to the world. It's basically the only region to play this hero for the longest time. And we saw at the major with
maybe that's why it wasn't picked so much at the major.
Yeah, that's why you didn't believe in it, because NA were the team. I mean, you're like, NA's garbage, so anything they pick is probably
yeah, you
garbage,
were really good.
Hey, they happen to be right about one thing, all right? So
that's true.
We can at least put that to our name. But we haven't really talked about the lineups overall, SyndereN. My control's getting pressured out of bot lane for now. We'll be okay, though. Do you favor one team or the other, not including skill? Because obviously coming into this, Team Nigma, like you talked about, the #1 seed for all intents and purposes, so they will be the team to beat.
I don't know. So one thing I'm not so big a fan of with Nigma's lineup is what the panel pointed out, that they have like no catch, no reliable way of setting up fights. They just have that Ravage. And when we get out of the laning stage and skirmishes start happening, you're very much reliant on Ravage to get stuff done. But when you get later in the game, you can kind of itemize your way out of it, right? By just having overwhelming items or buying stuns, or maybe be able to outlast, so you get a guaranteed good Ravage because your cores are tanky enough with the IO Phoenix backing them up that it just takes too long. Bo3 will be forced to TP away here from the rune.
Can you pronounce that name again for me, please?
Okay, so I actually don't know. So I call him Bo3, and some call him Borania, and the panel call him Bora Ninja, which is definitely wrong because that letter isn't even in his name. So I'll say they're wrong, but beyond that, I don't know.
Okay, I'm just going to call him Bora. It's just half of his name, so it can't be technically incorrect.
Let's call him Bora. That's good.
So Nigma, they see this stack here. The question is, can they do enough to pressure here? Is Rasmus, right, he's going to be found out, is level 6 right now. The trap does slow. Homing missile on the way. Witchwhack does connect onto 2, but Rasmus able to get off his Berserker Call, so will be tanky as a result. But the call down is there with the reinforcements on the way as well. Finally, Nigma are able to take him out, but will it cost him anything? Look at all the rotations here from Hellbear. Smashers. GH will not be able to TP out. LSA was there. So it ends up being a 1-for-1, but the real question is, where does the stack go? Because they can't take it without the Axe.
Yeah, they're just going to hold the area, and Axe is going to go there as soon as he spawns and try again. Axe with Vanguard can do this on his own. Yeah, you can be cute and cold embrace him with Wyvern. Kyle's primary contribution to pro Dota history. But they don't need to do that here. Axe can do it on his own, no problem. So, yeah, I feel like I didn't really answer your question about who my favorite is going late.
You never do. I just want to... Hold on. I hope people out there that are listening / watching just understand that you don't answer any questions. Period.
Ever.
Yes, ever.
Okay, so if Nigma get through at what could be a turbulent mid-game, I do favor their strategy in the end. Because I think both TA and Gyro in this game are going to be overwhelmingly farmed, and I always like Phoenix late game as a support. Yes, you're playing into Lina, but it's literally the only very big problem you have for your egg. Because PL can't go for the Supernova when he's just going to get ravaged, right? So if you set it up nicely with, let's say, TA starting the fight with either... I don't know if Miracle's going to go for a Scythe in this game to lock people down, or a Nullifier or whatever to just, like, start the fight. And then Phoenix follows through. It's very difficult for Hellbear Smashers to go in and deal with that Supernova. And Tide will get a refresher late games, so you have 2 Ravages, etc, etc. So, very late. I like Nigma. In theory, in the next 10 minutes, I like Smashers, but I haven't really seen them take much initiative right now. They're kind of just letting both the Gyro and the TA farm to their heart's content, and that's generally not a good look. These 2 heroes just farm faster than anything you have. Like, you're not going to keep up with your PL and your Axe to this when the Axe is played offlane.
I'm going to ask you a bit of a... I don't know what kind of question you want to even describe this as. It's a bit of a hot take. Do you think Gyro is a good hero without IO currently? As we can see, Bushwhack, we got to hold the horses there, Mr. SyndereN. Yeah, Sharpshooter's there, but Rasmus not able to do much as there was a relocate. But it's actually a baby relocate. They want to go back in here. Kuroki does have egg as well. Kind of posture, but doesn't look like a fight will actually commence from this. So go ahead with your amazing opinion that you won't answer.
Nice deny bottom by Tofa there on the Wyvern, by the way. Denying the tower from Tide. So... yeah, I actually do think Gyro can be a good hero without IO. I don't think it's as much of a requirement as it felt like, I want to say, a month or 2 ago, where it was literally only played together.
Yeah.
But if you do pick Gyro without the IO, I think it needs to be a very late pick in the draft, because there's like specific pitfalls for this hero where it can be difficult, like some matchups where people come up too close and are too strong against you. A lot of the like very mobile heroes can kite you and make your life miserable because your spells don't land. Since so much of your damage in the early mid-game is about the rocket barrage as well as the call down until you get farmed enough that flak cannon becomes your main source. A lot of heroes can deal with you very well. But when it gets picked late, like let's say last pick or second to last,
LPW might be in some trouble. GH does have his relocate, and you can see just like that with the bushwhack setup, Hellbear Smashers absolutely decimate him. So probably will turn this into a tier 1 as well, as Bora's rotated here in addition to basically everybody from Hellbear Smashers.
I don't think you can hold this tower. Like I get what Mind Control's intent is. This is something you want to do with these like tanky offlaners like Tide, is you want to TP in and defend your safe lane tower. Same logic for Timbersaw, but like your carry just died, he doesn't have buyback, and the tower is on 20%. So I think that TP, he might complete it anyway, just so he can sit up here and take the follow-up farm that comes and push out the wave again. But that tower was definitely dead on arrival as soon as LTW died. That is a goner. And nice from Hellbears here, right? Like they take some initiative. It's been a relatively quiet game. They kill the carry, they take a tier 1. I think you want to keep rolling. You have a peel with this early diffusal timing. Hoodwink has level 7, which is a very strong spike for the hero. When you have your ulti and 4 points in Bushwhack, you're very, very powerful. Axe is going to get his dagger and 20 gold. So all things are coming together here. I would really like to see Smashers try more invasive maneuvers, especially if they can play away from the Tide. That's like the one centerpiece that Nigma have to kind of glue their lineup together in teamfights right now. Forcing that guy to TP top could have even given them a smoke toward the other side of the map, but they chose to fall back to farm this dagger first.
Yeah, like you said, Ace does have the Diffusal Blade. We have Bora on the Lina, has the Boots of Travel going into Yules. We saw the Maelstrom already picked up by LTW, obviously going for the Aghanim Scepter thereafter. I mean, once he gets that, it feels like his farm just takes on another level where there's almost no other heroes that can really catch up outside of like a Luna type hero. I mean, even the TA on your team won't be able to keep up with that at some point in the game. By the way, now that we have a small break, I have a little bit of not a complaint, but why has nobody talked about how the health bars at the top have changed colors? That just me that notices this?
What has changed?
Last patch?
Is it a different green hue and a different red hue? Or?
Yeah, they're both darker. Is that just my computer?
That's true, actually. That is
Why
true.
has nobody complained? It's really been bothering me.
But is that only when you're spectating or also when you're playing?
When I'm playing as well. Okay? Just a PSA out there. Nobody has brought that. I feel like I'm literally crazy that I'm the only one that has noticed this, but it's really
When did
bothering.
that happen? In a patch like a day ago or something?
No, it was the Nemesis patch, I believe.
Oh. I think people didn't notice it because they were lagging all the time, so they couldn't really focus on other things.
Well, they're still lagging, I guess. I don't know what the deal with that is. Yeah, that
Trying to
micro
control their
stutter.
heroes, yeah, they're focusing on improving their performance rather than looking at the top of the screen.
Yeah, it's just
Mid tower is gonna be attacked here. I like this from Smashers. No siege creep yet though, so I think a better timing would have probably been next wave. But it's the right idea to not just sit back and farm and do nothing. Relatively quiet game though. 4 kills at 15 minutes is very slow in this patch. And I think Nigma are happy with it, so you're not... You know, there's like this fine balance in the game between doing what you want to do and doing what the enemy team doesn't want you to do. They're not always the same thing. Does that make sense? Like sometimes your lineup really wants to farm, but because the enemy team wants to farm even more than you do, it can be better to play aggressive. Like, the reason I say this is that a lot of the time PL lineups are happy to just do this, right? Just sit back and farm. Oh, PL's free farming, that's great, but the lineup you're playing against probably thrives more from that playstyle than your PL draft, even though you last picked it. So I kind of feel like there's a little bit of... There should be a feeling of urgency to get something done for Smashers here. Even though their lineup, in theory, would be happy to farm. It's just...
Yeah, we talked about it. Gyro and TA are basically going to out-farm you no matter what at this stage. I mean, right now,
it's
Miracle...
still even. Like, it's just a 1k lead, but it's kind of the writing on the wall that key items are coming up.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, now that the Ags is... Actually, did he change up his build? Is it going BKB on ILTW? I think something's being delivered right now. We'll see what that is, but... Miracle did get his Desolator right now. Okay, so ends up changing his... So it looks like they want to fight with this Desolator on Miracle. That's kind of the timing.
Yeah.
As you can see that they are scouted out here
in this game will be BKBs, right? You pretty much... You negate a lot of the Lina, you negate basically all of Hoodwink. At least for Hellbear Smashers, they do have 2 BKB piercing abilities in the Call as well as the Winter's Curse, so it's not nothing. But even against a hero like Phantom Lancer, BKB can actually be very good. because you remove the diffusal aspect of the hero, which can help you in a lot of core matchups especially. So I think, you know, ILTW getting his BKB, and maybe Miracle after Blink will get another BKB. Tide got his dagger. It's still just very calm with Smashers. I feel like having this timing right now that isn't really getting used. They got an X Blink, have yet to use it. Lina has her Yules, has yet to use it.
I mean, this is a situation, I know it's an offlane act, this is like, if you knew this was going to happen, you probably would have just went straight for Manta, I assume, and not gotten the Blink yet. But it is 17 minutes, yeah. They can't get that shard quite yet, so they are going to smoke, and we'll see if they can find a kill as a result of this. I think this is, I feel like the first team smoke of the entire game here. But like we talked about, I think
Smashers are just frustrated. It feels like they're not able to push out the waves as much as they would like to make these smokes good, and at this point they're going to do one where both their bottom and top wave are kind of halfway across the map for the other team. So it's not like a very advantageous position, and now they're going to move in, they're going to place an Ops, which is uncovered. They do know there's a ward from Nigma though. Oh, LTW, big pick here.
This would be a huge kill. Hoodwink gets off the stun. Beautiful Laguna Blade. That is enough to delete ILTW. And the big thing about that is he was 200 gold away from finishing his BKB. So now he's 400. That is a big timing opening here for Hellbear Smashers. We'll see if they can take the tier 1 in addition here. But Mind Control is a bit. He is here with the Blink Ravage. They really want to go for this. It is 4v5.
A lot of damage on that Lina, double damage here.
Fortification is popped. But looks like the tower will fall, and Nigma just going to chill for now. Just wait for ILTW to come back up.
Really nice from Smashers.
Hoodwink did get the Ironwood Tree neutral, by the way. Maybe I want to say the second best hero to be able to get this behind Timbersaw. Although it's not as good on Timbersaw as it used to be. Basically, just plant the tree, and then you can bushwhack first, and then tree after.
Yeah, it's like an 800 cast range, and it's pretty much instant placement. So yeah, it is very good on Hoodwink for sure. It gives you it basically gives you in a way half a spell because you don't need to rely on the travel time of Acorn Shot anymore, which is a big part of the weakness of that spell. Is that it's very telegraphed, and it does take some time to land. And it can be quelling, right? But if you throw the net and then place the tree as the net is landing, no hero can quelling blade that in time. So
I'm sure there's some people with reaction time, SyndereN, or scripting, but of course nobody's going to be doing that in this lobby, at the very least. These are TI level players, especially at the likes of Misery. Second place, I don't know if you knew that, SyndereN. Very good player back in the day.
Very good player.
Hoping for a resurgence from him in particular. It's cool to see him in the off lane, though. Definitely not a position that, you know, back in the day he would play position 5 and 4. Pretty much that's it. And then recently, I'm not sure how recently it was. Maybe I have to talk to T-Gov about this since he's been in the know with him, but...
He won a major as offlane.
How recently?
Oh, that's quite a while ago. That was in Shanghai in 2016.
Yeah, this was he was it on Secret, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Played offlane
that was with Weehaw. Or was that EE? Or maybe all of them
were
on the team.
EE... Was it... Who were the supports? It was Puppy... Was it Puppy Pylai?
I think I was going to say Pylai Die, probably. Yeah.
Puppy Pylai Die. Yeah, it was Pylai Die. I remember.
Secret had some crazy 5-man rosters, I have to say. All right, we have a mech picked up for Mr. GH, and of course ILTW did finish that BKB. Looks like Gil is gonna he's gonna use his ult to try to get to the other side, but yeah, he's gonna be found it pretty easily. That's gonna be a freebie for Nigma, and they're just gonna go into Roche. Question
does have buyback on the Hoodwink, and they have all spells except the Sharpshooter, so he's going to buy back, and Nigma doing this specifically to force that buyback and immediately get the hell out of there. Very experienced, they know this was what they were trying to do.
The smoke too?
And smoke again.
And if they find one of the few heroes,
it's very big.
Hoodwink, one of the few heroes that can actually scout into Roche, so actually a pretty important hero to have alive right now. Ace is going to be found out, gets the bounty, but will run. ILTW just going to take the triangle for now. But you can see that Hellbear Smashers are kind of spread a bit. Rasmus towards the top of the screen now. See if they can close in and try to find a nice initiation. As
long as Nigma aren't killing Roche, I think this is fine from Hellbear. So, you know, you're paying some respect to the enemy team. Smoke, movement, you know they're smoke because Gyro broke on the PL. And you just push out the waves, buy some time, and Nigma eventually are going to just back off. They didn't really accomplish much with their 2 smokes. They got 1 support kill from 2 smokes. Who, in fairness, did buy back, but it wasn't that big of an expense. I think Hellbear's they're doing fine. They're 2k gold up. It's not a monumental lead, but after they found that kill on Gyro as well as the mid tower, I feel like the game has been in a good spot for them. Boranya will use a nice Yule TP out against that relocate.
No stuns.
Yeah, no stuns.
He needs to get level 25 to get that precious stun.
I feel like, you know, I talk about this a lot. I feel like playing lineups without stuns is just hard. And it doesn't, like, I'm not gonna, you know, say that Nigma's draft makes no sense and why the hell don't you pick stuns or whatever, but I think they might have had a different plan for their last pick. The DK ban obviously coming out, I think, was the hero they wanted. But that was clearly a good ban from the Smashers, but yeah, having only Ravage as a stun, you're just seeing situations where heroes can play the map differently on the enemy team, such as the Lina there. Like, if there's literally any stun there, that's just a dead Lina, but because Bora knows that that's not an option, he can push that extra wave that little bit further, or play that little more cocky in fights and get away with it. And
I think it's time for GH to get his shards. We can see initiation top lane. Rasmus gets off the nice berserker call. Sharpshooter into the Laguna Blade. Absolutely delete mind control. And looks like Hellbear Smashers will be able to get out just fine. LCW does get off the homing missile, but really to no avail here. Is Rasmus showing off his newly minted Manta style, working on a shard for himself. So we talked about how, yeah, he is mega farm for sure. He's as farmed as ILTW basically. That's not good news for Team Nigma. This is going to be a Roche now for Hellbear.
Yep, no tide, no buyback. They're actually just going to lose this. I don't see a way Nigma can contest this at all, so I don't think they're even going to bother. But maybe they are. Call down.
Okay, call down is there. Kuroki is available with the egg. You can see the Sunray coming out. He actually popped his BKB as well. The homing missile coming. Lena's going to get to the high ground. Tofu and Ace trying to traverse to their side of the map as well as Miracle kind of get caught out though. LSA is there into the right click. This looks like it's doing more than enough damage to take him out. And only custom a Wyvern. Roche extremely low right now as the egg does finally pop for Kuroki. A lot of low heroes on the side of Hellbear Smashers. I feel like they have enough time to go heal and go back and to get Roche.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is a good play from Nigma because they stop the Roche and they don't Ravage. So if they can hold the area until Miracle spawns, they might be able to grab the Roche themselves. I didn't think they were going to be able to or try to contest there, but I think the really key thing was Rasmus was tanking Roche and couldn't blink. So he wasn't able to connect on the net that Gilger found on the gyro when he walked in, and he just BKB'd.
I feel like they could get it right now, though. This is the timing for Hellbear.
20 seconds. I like this a lot. Again, you're just forcing Nigma's hand. You know, there's no Supernova. 20 seconds on the TA. Are they going to buy back? Not yet.
They're smoking. Yeah, they want to go in
Rasmus
again.
is outside the pit. I like this way more.
He pops the smoke beautifully, but there's the Ravage into the pit, but it looks like Ace is going to be able to get the Aegis in the end, but the Roshan actually goes to Nigma, and they're going to lose everybody. Gyro's dead, Io's dead, Kuroki on the high ground now, Rasmus just limping away. It's going to be a triple kill for Bora. Looks like Mind Control is next on the list. They only lose Rasmus. What a huge fight for Hellbear Smashers. Holy jeez. Ultra kill. Mr. Bora, who I can't pronounce your name, but you're playing very well, young man. Good job.
Nigma, they... Hello? Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Hello, Nigma? If you... Okay, doesn't this just feel like one of those moments where, okay, if you're gonna double down on that Roche, you're gonna buy back your TA when you go for the Ravage? And the reason is TA has Blink, so if she TPs on the outpost, I think she can connect in time. Instead, you're kind of like... I'm not going to say they half-ass it, because it is a really big commitment to buy back the TA, but at the same time, I think if you believe in that fight, buying back the TA should probably get you the Aegis. And then that's, you know, if that's the outcome, that you pay a buyback to get that Aegis and the enemy team doesn't get it, that's pretty good, I would say. But going in as 4 there with the Ravage seems a bit optimistic under those circumstances.
Yeah, I believe the
we basically
Ravage
had 2 4-man fights on Roche in a row, right? Like, Nigma took 2 4v5s in a row there. The first one was without the TA, and the second one was... Or, sorry, the first one was without Gyro, right? And the second... First one was without...
TA
first one was without someone, second one was without someone else, okay? I have the memory of a goldfish, but I think it was tied first and the second fight was without the TA, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
I figured it out. It just took...
Well, did you figure out that the Ravage killed Roshan as well, SyndereN? Is quite the highlight. And a very awkward 1 second period where the Aegis was on the ground.
Imagine Nigma don't get lucky. I mean, that's just pure luck, right? That the Ravage gets the kill. then
wait, how much does that matter? How much gold and XP even is that even?
It's a decent chunk. I think this would be about a 1k bigger lead. Just, I mean, not flat, but instead of 3k, it would say 4k right now, and there would be a little bit more experience. Like, in the grand scheme of things, the Aegis is more important than the kill, obviously. But you know, Smashers were set to get both, so at the very least, Nigma got something there. All right, there's TP's coming in top. They're very late on this.
Yep, Ace already at half HP. He needs to be careful here. Tier 2 is already dead. You see the illusions from Rasmus coming in. Only missile to follow, but the mind control with another Ravage. This time it's going to be basically just on the Lina, who gets the Yules off, but the right clicks are going to be more than enough. Nope, going to get saved for now. The LSA is not going to connect, though, and will shortly find her way to the grave. BKB pop from Miracle now as the chase is on. Still buyback available, though, for Bora, if he wants to extend it here. Doppelganger is able to take off that homing missile. Tofu getting chased, though, in the meantime. Yeah, can't even get off the cold embrace in time. So a 2-for-0 along with the Tier 2 tower. Despite not having the Aegis, Nigma are not scared to fight.
That was so scuffed from Smashers. Wait, hang on.
Rasmus jumps in, beautiful, into the hoodwink bushwhack. 2 huge kills, double kill for Rasmus, but Choppity Chop is there. And now the egg looks to be next, but it will get popped eventually. Doppelganger actually ends up dodging it a bit here as Ace. Looks like another bushwhack from Gil. Beautifully done from this hoodwink.
Rasmus finding that
so 3 big turnaround kills after a horrible fight for Hellbears.
I don't know what happened in that top fight. Like, I look at that fight and I just see Alina in the middle of everyone without BKB and then 500 health. Like, she popped BKB coming down from her own Yules, but how the hell did she get in that position to begin with? You look at the way this Radiant lineup is structured, right? You have a very clear-cut initiation plan with either Hoodwink or Axe, and Lina's just supposed to be long-range artillery. So I don't know how she found herself in the midst of all of that. Doesn't even have a dagger to get in with, so it couldn't have been that. But yeah, they get a couple of recovery kills off of Rasmus there. That definitely helps. Oh, LCW, very defensive BKB. Scared of getting caught.
That is down to the lowest 6 seconds. And yeah, the call comes in with the Laguna Blade, so yet another kill for Hellbear. Man, I cannot say their name when I'm talking fast.
Hairbell.
Slow down like every time I say Team Nigma. Just have to use that, I guess. That strategy that I've picked up over the years. It looks like this Tier 2 tower. Hellbears, the Radiant team versus the Dire.
The wave didn't reach. The wave actually didn't reach to break that backdoor, so yeah, good job from Miracle on the trap control. Relocate bot, they're going to push out down here, buy themselves some time.
Yeah, ILTW, we talked about, I mean, the fact that he's not even the top net worth is pretty crazy considering the amount of farm that he's able to get on this hero, but all the credit to Hellbears. They have definitely shown up here today with that 4k net worth lead now. Like you talked about, the relocate already used Bushwhack into the Sharpshooter. That's the break onto the Tide Hunter. No follow-up though. They're just posturing here as the Aegis is now expired.
Yep.
That's something we didn't really talk about, but obviously Sharpshooter against Tide, if you're able to connect it at the full duration, that is a pretty long break. It is dispellable, but not having Kraken Shell means that you can just burst this hero. I mean, that's one of the biggest reasons you pick Tide Hunter, is you basically get a guaranteed Ravage no matter what, just because of that dispel.
There's a couple of problems for Tide here, right? There's the Axe Call, which is undispellable, and then there's the Break, which he can dispel with Lotus, but then he needs to not be called at the same time. So there's like a very clear-cut plan for Smashers to actually just kill the Tide if they want, which is call into Hoodwink ult, and then just pile on him with Lina and he's gonna die. And that's big, because the only saves... Nigma do have both the Sunray and the Tether Burst heal with mech, but as we've seen earlier in the game, the damage from Smashers has been enough. So the question is, when do you push yourself over that limit where you don't die in the burst? That's when Nigma's lineup gets a lot better, is when they can reliably heal their cores with Sunray in these fights and they start getting longer. But so far so good for Smashers. When they do get the jumps, they convert it immediately into big kills. Bottom lane relocate. Nobody's here with Rasmus though. This could have been really good.
Yeah, they're just going to continue to do this. It's not quite an IO Tiny from back in the day, but it's the best alternative these days, I suppose. Can't really take a full Rax, but I mean, he does have Agnum Scepter and will be getting Butterfly very shortly. So that is when he starts to do damage in fights. I mean, this is kind of like a farming build, right? He's doing damage in fights, but just takes on a whole new level once you get these Butterfly type items.
He still feels susceptible though. Even with this, I still think he can die to a full-on combo from the Smasher. So I don't think you're safe as ILTW here. It helps you against the PL, of course, but like imagine you get Axe called with Hoodwink ult and Lina Burst. I don't know, man. I don't know if their heal's enough to keep him alive without having, say, Satanic or Scotty for the extra health. If he gets caught outside of BKB, I think he's killable.
And Miracle has the butterfly coming online very shortly as well. His BKB is still at 8 seconds, so hasn't been popping it nilly-willy like ILTW has. Of course, ILTW has been kind of in the thick of things. As Ace on the PL has the Heart SNY combo along with the Diffuse that he had earlier. ILTW leading the charge now. Action onto Rasmus. He's going to get the call down, but he's going to get healed in the meantime as he gets stunned. So, Lotus Orb applied as well. Bora's not really scared of anything. He's in the backline. Miracle just absolutely rampaging through Rasmus. It's going to be enough to take him out. Cold Embrace not there in time. Now the chase is onto Tofu as he's going to get off his ult for the time being, but the chase is on. Looks like Mind Control might be able to find... Nope. In the trees, Tofu's going to be able to get out, but ILTW is in a lot of trouble right now, getting surrounded by his teammates, so the egg for separation as well. It looks like Gil might fall on the backside. Ace needs to create a little bit of space thanks to this egg, as ILTW finally gets that last right click, so a 2-for-0 after all of that. Still a lot of damage on the ILTW, but no kills for Hellbears, Smashers.
Really good play from Miracle in that fight. I don't think it's an obvious play that he can go and kill the X there, but he does pull it off just barely, and with X out of the picture, it's just easy. And you gotta think on Smashers as well. Like Tofu, he has to be there for that Cold Embrace. He has Blink Dagger on the Wyvern. It needs to save X from the TA in time, and who knows if they could have turned that around. But a big play from Nigma. They get 2 kills. One of them on the Axe, which is still a decent chunk of net worth that you managed to claw into, and Roshan has just spawned and they have a trap there. That's the bigger prize. It's Roche number 2 that Nigma tailored this fight to take close to the respawn of this, and they get rewarded in a big way. I'm gonna go Aegis probably onto ILTW? Yes? No? Maybe? Yes.
Yeah, so we looked at a stat privately, right, between you and me.
Yeah.
On the win rate of second Roche, just not in pro games, but all around game. It's like 80+%, which I guess shouldn't be that big of a surprise because second Roche, and just in general, probably has a high win rate in throughout history. But this one in particular just has an extra little something for sure.
Yep. Giving the shard to TA. We'll give the silence on Psionic Trap. So
waiting for that Ags.
It's a really big problem for Wyvern, actually, suddenly. If Wyvern is ever caught on a trap, he's dead. You just get silenced, or you kill someone else while Wyvern is silenced. It just gives this added layer of utility to Miracle to be really confident in finding key picks. And speaking of confidence, he's straight down to mid-tier 2, pushing this really quickly with those very interesting shots, looking like something out of Star Trek.
Star Trek? I was thinking more Wizard
Actually,
of
World
Oz.
of Warcraft. Yeah.
It's more of a rainbow effect, if I do say so myself. Scotty now picked up by Ace, who's in the enemy jungle right now, but like you can see, Nigma are just taking all the outer towers. They've taken everything but the tier 2 bot, and they're just going to go into the tier 3 top. Ooh, okay, Sharpshooter with the Laguna Blade. Nice. All right, Nigma, we're not aware of that combo, apparently. ILTW has to pop his BKB, and it's just a retreat, but there's the Wyvern Curse applied to him. A little bit of damage done from TA as well. Bora Ninja gets up the LSA as well. Oh, they relocate onto the other side of the cliff. I thought he went back to base, but it's actually a little baby one yet again, so they're going to look to reinitiate potentially here. ILTW already used the BKB and the Aegis. I feel like Hellbears are going to be very happy with this exchange.
Call down for what? Sorry, it's a reference to a song that you don't like because it's a good song. So
I actually laughed because I knew I wouldn't understand it. But I knew what it was generally from. You and I are just on the same page, even
do
when
you
it
not like Lil
sense.
Jon, SUNSfan?
I don't know who
Say
that is.
yeah, then you're saving yourself right now.
Wait, does he have blonde hair?
Okay,
Color blonde?
let's move on with the game.
Okay.
Yeah, that was about as wrong as it could be, but that's okay.
There's a reason. Okay, I'm not going to get into it, but I did. Maybe it was Lil Wayne I saw recently. I get the Littles all mixed up. I'm not going to lie, because I don't really keep track of
there's
the
a
music
lot of them.
kids.
That's actually easy to mix up.
That's true.
Who started that trend anyway?
I don't know.
Why are you called Lil something?
I don't know. That's a great question for a Dota 2 cast.
Yeah,
we got Lena.
It really is.
Little Lena has the MKB to be able to get through the butterflies from both ILTW and Miracle, so that's a very good pickup. Is that something you ever go for on PL? I know it's not an item you want to, but are you forced to at some point, or are you just gonna Oh, like you're just gonna rely on the illusions. Yeah.
Against double butter, I don't know. So I would say, so PL is my worst win rate hero with over 25 games. I'm probably the wrong person to ask.
Great, you're the analyst, so you're the only person.
The thing is, honestly, when I see PLs play, like you said, they don't want to buy it. I can't tell you what the breaking point is for when you have to. That's the thing, right? Like, I think in this game there's a lot of value because you're playing against double butterfly, but even he is queuing it now. So I think if it was one butterfly, he wouldn't do it.
You talked long enough for him to choose his next item and farm halfway to it. You are a god, actually. Incredible.
He just, no, he just farms really fast. I didn't talk that long.
Yeah, so, that's definitely the case.
So let's say only one of the enemy cores went butter, right? Like the TA or the gyro, but not both. I think it's probably not a good enough value proposition against getting another item. But in this game, he might feel like it's necessary. But it really does say something that he gets in 6th, right? These two butters have been in play for quite a while.
They're gonna force the fort at the bottom lane, so looks like this is a very even game right now, and I'm not just saying that because it's only a 1k net worth lead for Hellbears, but I mean, we talked about late game, we do favor Nigma, but have to say the gyrocopter, he is super farm, but he has been getting deleted repeatedly. Does have Satanic now, so he has an extra tankiness layer to him.
That's a big item.
Obviously synergizes with his Ag, since even when he's stunned, he will be attacking, getting some lifesteal off at the very least.
Wonder when we're gonna see some more discs come out as well. We have one on Gilger so far, but it feels like a very, very strong item in this game against the Hoodwink combo.
Yeah.
For Nigma. But they're just chilling so far. I gotta say, man, this Axe Hoodwink feels really good as a pairing. The call to set up your sharpshooter, the fact that you break the people that you call, which just makes Axe's team able to pile on way, way easier against a lot of heroes. The lane itself is pretty strong. There's a lot of damage in it. I like it.
Something we didn't mention, but Ace, he got this a while ago, was the Shard, which is the Spirit Lance bounces. Yep. And we talked about this at the Major, where some people were not going for this at all.
Oh, they
call
Tide
into the LSA, Mind Control. He's deleted as well. He does have buyback, though, 85 seconds. He doesn't want to use it. Almost certainly will have to, though. As you can see, Lina just pounding onto the Ranger Rax. So Hellbear Smashers are the first to get a Rax of any kind. And it's going to be a full sweep in the bot lane. Miracle jumps in, but I don't think he actually wants to do anything further here. Has the Flicker. That's going to be pretty annoying to deal with. That's a set of Rax for Hellbears. Still with buyback here, so... And of course, no fort. Nullifier now.
Buyback out of Miracle.
Okay. Oh, Rasmus jumps in, but the Yules.
But they do get the buyback.
Yeah, the buyback is there. Now the run-in from Nigma. Can they catch up to anybody is the question. Ace has a homing missile apply, but can obviously just doppelganger away. So they can synergize this with the Ravage potentially, but nope. Gonna be able to get it off in time. It looks like the retreat will be successful, and there's even a double damage rune for the Lina.
If Smashers didn't stack that Yuel plus call, who knows what would have happened to that TA. He does have the 25 talent, so he has a lot of refraction charges. But if PL connects with a lot of illusions, those are removed very quickly, and they could find themselves another big kill. But at the very least, they got the Tide buyback regardless, and they disengage. And again, it's just this... It's this thing about Nigma's lineup that when Tide isn't there, there's so much freedom for Smashers to do whatever they want. They just get out of there, right? Like, nothing's gonna stop them. Right? Gonna start poking here with the PL. Nothing much coming from that. And they're going to control this triangle area now. They're just going to hold the high ground. There's no threat of a Roche for a while. Early respawn is in a minute. And this bottom wave will push in. So I reckon as soon as Enigma hero shows bottom, we might see a smoke from Smashers across to the top side. But Nigma are not going to give them that piece of information. They're actually making the move. Going for a big play here.
Ooh. Yeah,
Laura is showing.
Wrap around here. ILTW, he's going to be spotted. The homing missile is already there. Boron Ninja has to be careful because his Yules can now be dispelled thanks to the Nullifier. The Aeon Disc as well for... Who was it that had it? Somebody on Hellbears. Ace, right? Fall down is there. Mind Control gets off the Ravage. Is going to connect on a couple of heroes into the egg as well. That's the Sunray egg, and Boron Ninja is in a lot of trouble. Going to get off the Yules for now, but you have to think that he will be the sacrifice at the very least. Gets the Laguna Blade off, but... The only damage in the end is now Mind Control jumps in again. Gonna pop that Eon disc. It looks like they want to fight. The Lena's gonna buy back into the game. The pressure applied to TA, but he's sent back to base thanks to the beautiful relocate from GH, but a choppity chop is enough, and ILTW, as a result of Io not being there anymore, has no save for himself. Kuroki with the dive. Will he? Oh, it's gonna be close. Ace just gets enough damage.
They found Miracle. He has dagger.
GH.
Nice timing.
Miracle. The call is there. Into the bushwhack. Down he goes. Wow. One buyback from Bora. And
that was a frame
dead
perfect Lina
for
stun. That was a frame perfect Lina stun. Coming out of that Yules. That was super good. I think, so I believe Miracle did have Refraction running, so he can blink out of the Yules land. But the stun was just perfect. Didn't get to turn and blink at all. And this should be the game.
Yeah, they can just go Throne.
Nigma just never really got their feet off the ground too much in terms of fighting. They had to farm, but they didn't find moves.
Yeah,
try one last-ditch effort to hold here. There's the call. This should
jumps
be it.
in, and the damage applied again to ILTW is just more than enough. GH cannot save his brother this time around, and he's going to be the death as well. So this will be game 1 for Hellbear Smashers in a very big upset. Again, this is the number 1 seed versus the number 8 seed of the upper bracket. So regardless of which team loses in this best of 3, they will have another life, but very good showing from Hellbears, I have to say.
Yeah, for sure. I think they had I really like the flavor of the strategy with, you know, I was like, should they have picked the PL against the Ursa? Like, what are you doing with this hero versus the Ursa as a counter to the enemy team? We obviously don't know if they would have pulled it off as well with Ursa, but he made PL look very, very good in this game simply by virtue of not really being threatened by anything else than Ravage, right? He's getting his items, he's finding his farm, and in these fights he's just constantly poking and prodding, finding good targets, being a nuisance, and setting up his team for success. And the Axe, probably my MVP of the game. I think Rasmus played a very, very good game here. Found the game-winning calls over and over for Hellbears, so nice
Great
job.
game, Misery. Great game to Hellbear Smashers. This, of course, is a best of 3, so Nigma still have at least one more game to go. This was a super even game until about 30 minutes, and then Hellbears just ran away with it. But with that, let's take a quick break, and then the panel can dissect the beautiful play of Hellbear Smashers.
Dissect.
Well, we told you it was never going to be simple as Hellbear Smashers take the first mini upset of this fantastic EU qualifier. T-Governor, I'm going to give you the job of breaking down what went so right for your former friends in this game 1.
Well, first of all, let's not get too carried away. This is the Smashers classic right now. Win a game, but then maybe... But anyway, okay, let's focus on the goods. The first 20 minutes of this game was pretty slow. Some might say boring, but it was methodical. You know, both teams farming away, being efficient. I think the key thing that gave Smashers the edge was they decisively, I think it was like minute 12, minute 18, they smoked into a key pickoff into then an objective. And that was kind of like the story of the entire game for Smashers. They were able to like kind of put on a clinic of kill the Tide, kill the only major stun on Nigma, then run over their opponent.
That we don't use the word boring, we use the word tense or poised on a knife edge.
There we go. That's why you're the host.
Who do you think was the hero, T, from Hellbears who really kind of pulled this game forwards? Was it anyone or was it particularly a team performance?
I'll probably go with Rasmus, just for the kind of around 32 minutes when Smashes were kind of a little bit outplayed in some teams. He hit that big call on the Tide and the TA, and that was kind of like the story of the game, was always Axe finding the initiation to then allow for Gilga, to allow for Tofu, or the kind of the supporting cast to then really layer in their damage. So I think kind of Rasmus really just kind of led his team and was able to captain from the offlane role, from the initiating role. So I think, yeah, I'd probably go with Rasmus for this one.
Sheepsticks, I'm going to give you a chance to flex that famed British negativity. Tell me a little bit about what went wrong for Team Nigma in this game one.
Well, first of all, their draft lacked clean initiation. They basically only had Ravage, so we saw during their Roche fight, they blinked in with Tide, they ravaged, but they had no follow-up. Their heroes had to walk in to go clean up, and I don't think they could do it fast enough to take full advantage of that stun. We saw the same problem when they did that nice smoke wraparound on Hellbear's late game. It looked like it was a really good idea. They were going to catch them off guard, but because they were leading with gyro and not an actual good stun, it just meant that it fell flat. They got to walk away. They set themselves up good, and then they managed to take a good fight on Hellbear's and clean up Nigma. So I think that was the main lacking point for them this game.
Do you think there was anything they could have done to override that lacking point?
I think they did a good job in general. Despite it, they applied a lot of pressure even when they were down after they lost the first roast. They still just walked down top and took the tier 2 tower there. They got that kill on Bora, whose name I will no longer mispronounce. And they were constantly split pushing with relocate. They were using traps effectively to cut the waves. I think they did a really good job of putting pressure on the map despite their shortcomings.
Yes, I've got a sticky note on my monitor now reminding me how to pronounce his name. T, any final thoughts on the Team Nigma game that won there?
I think Nigma was very efficient in how they opened up the map in the first 15 minutes. Right, their farming, how they utilized the jungle, it was clear. It was really good. I think the main thing is they weren't the team initiating the initial engagements. Like when you only have one stun in the game, you have to use that stun perfectly. Otherwise, you're reacting, and that ravage or whatever stun you have feels like meaningless because you're just like survive. So I feel like if they were the team that at minute 14 were smoking up with the gyrocopter, finding that kill, breaking down the ancients for the axe, maybe removing his game. That's a completely different story. We're not talking about how they had few stuns. We're talking about how they're, clinical in their early moves. I feel Nigma, they just spent a little bit too much time farming, hearing the gold sounds in their ear, and then that alone gave Smashers that forward-thinking movement to kind of get themselves into the game.
Do you like that sound, though?
It's a very good sound. As support with the stacks and stuff, it's like ding, 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 but it's only a small camp, so it's worth nothing.
I think Valve spent most of the development time of Dota 2 kind of tune engineering that sound to get people addicted to this game. T, you mentioned that this is a classic Hellbear's move to win game one and then maybe begin to crumble in game 1 and game 2. Nigma are obviously a very, very good team, and we're going to see them come back strong. How do we want to see Hellbears come back even stronger to perhaps take this to a 2-0 victory?
I guess the main thing is don't be too comfortable and continue thinking about what's next. These teams that aren't tier 1, often they will kind of overthink or be too happy with one result, and then they'll kind of get into that rhythm of game 2 is going to be the same, or the same. We're going to have the same style of play. So I feel like they need to stay on the ball, and hopefully maybe with the addition of Boronier in the roster compared to maybe Stormstormer, that might be a little bit of a different team atmosphere where they're going to be maybe on the ball a little bit more because, of course, experience helps in these very moments, and having Rasmus, with an additional kind of experienced voice alongside Ace, that might fine tune the Smashers classic that we're used to seeing in DPC at least. Okay,
well, can that classic be fine tuned, or will it splatter like an old car in a game 2, which will be coming up straight after this break? And we're back for this vital game 2 between Hellbear Smashers and Team Nigma. Will Nigma be dropping down to the lower bracket where they are so comfortable, or will Hellbear Smashers take us to a game 3? Sheepo, talk for me what you want to see in these early picks coming out from these two teams.
I think I would much rather they pick something more on meta like Lion support than sticking with these stubborn GH heroes. He's great at IO, he's great at Rubik, and he's been playing them a bunch, but I do think there's a lot of strength in these heroes like Lion, for a good reason. They're being picked for a reason. You're playing against Hellbear's like Wyvern. Why don't you want that Lion with that finger burst potential to break through that heal? I think I would maybe like to see them sway more in that direction. Even hero like AA has gone through the first phase bans this time. You're playing against DK here on Hellbears. Why not pick it up? Or maybe we'll just see another Phoenix. Who knows?
We're going to see Hellbears pick up El Clasico of the DK and the Hoodwink. T-Governor, talk to me through this opening pairing.
Yeah, it's stuns for days. You're going to have DK be able to play mid or offlane. If it is going to be your offlane, this is a pretty strong pairing because Hoodwink as a 4 needs to have that strong presence in the lane to be able to constantly poke and prod, and that's where these kind of flexible offlane heroes really enable that. And Nigma, they go straight back for the TA because they were comfortable with it. They knew how to play around it. They just kind of lacked the continued control. We could also just say simply they didn't have enough stuns, but yeah, they played around it pretty well. It's just they didn't have that extra little bit of something.
Control is more than stuns, my friend. Cheap, do you think this TA was a problem for Nigma last series, or do you think it's just the dressing around the TA that was the issue?
I like the TA, and I think it's good. Although I will say I think Hellbear are really taking advantage right now of Nigma's unwillingness to play certain heroes. They've picked DK Hoodwink. I think a lot of teams would respond with a Timbersaw here. It's not banned. It's really good right now. Great against both those heroes, but Nigma just don't play at mind control. He leans far more into these team fighting heroes like Axe, Mars, Sanking, Tide, like we just saw. So I think that it's good from Hellbear that they're taking advantage of that. Nigma is going to take this TA instead, which I think is fine, but I would have liked to have seen Timber.
Well, we've still got time for a Timber. It's not been banned out by either team. Nigma could ban it out themselves here in a radical kick flip of a move, but they're going to take out that Luna on Hellbear and final ban coming out in Team Nigma. If you're in Rasmus's ears, T-Governor, as you have been on many occasions, which is where you live as a little borrower, what are you telling him to pick now?
Oof. Well, I'm telling him to pick just more stuns. I'd actually even tell him just play the DK, mate. You know, just allow Boromir to play this kind of jumping style of mid lane or have a bit more impact and just sacrifice yourself in the draft. I think often Smashers get into a position of overflexing and they get a bit too happy. Oh, this can go here, this can go there. And they get to like 4th pick and like, wait, what? Why do we have... So I think right now it's just let this be your offlane duo and then just play a normal game of Dota.
Mm-hmm. How do you think Go ahead. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Thank you. I was just going to say the idea of the Timbersaw, I think maybe why they won't ban it out is because they're forcing Nigma down the same route as Game Run. It's like you have this one stun, and if you want to pick this good counter to our opening duo, you're going to sacrifice this big impact on the offlane, and that's why they're not really picking it up. And additionally, in the first phase bans, you know, the pick order and the side order is the same, but they changed their ban, giving away the Nyx, but banning out the puck instead. A puck in this game 2, would have been a great adaptation for Nigma because they realized they needed that cheap blockdown. And if you pick a puck, it solves all those problems, right? So they kind of forced the draft onto Nigma. It's like going into game 2, you have to pick this hero. We're banning out a good like a development pick, and then we're taking a strong combo. So I like how Smashers, have won game 1, but then identified how they might be outdrafted in game 2 and really pushed it into Nigma to really try and keep inventing throughout the draft.
We've still got the Phoenix available, which is a top pick for both of these teams. Nigma player on both 4 and 5. I'd imagine they'd be playing on 5 here if they were to pick it up. And Hellbear's player on 5 as well. So would you expect to see that coming out here? Oh, there we go. I didn't need to question you.
So good, Big Jams.
I know, I'm a literal god. Please worship
Okay, so
me.
what's this next pick then? Oh, Almighty God and Overseer of the draft.
Don't put me on the spot. Sheep 6, you're the panelist. Tell us what...
I want to see some Snapfire, come on.
I think this is going to be a puck, and they're going to play the TA as a carry. I know that's an insane pick, but imagine if I was right.
Almighty God, you are so wrong because puck's banned, sir.
Oh, it is banned. Oh, there we go. You put me on. There's too much pressure. I'm not capable.
You gave
of this
yourself
level
the
of pressure.
God title, all right? No panelist in the history of Dota has ever tried calling themselves a god before, so we had to bring you back down to earth, Almighty Host.
Yeah, you did. I'm humbled.
There's no evidence that God has eyes, so you know we can forgive him for now.
There we go. Enchantress, that was your second pick. I know you did type it to me, Dan. That's fine.
They kind of go in the same route though. I mean, they have this Nyx Assassin to start fights this time, which is a lot better. I think it's very much less committal than a Tidehunter Ravage, and you can scout with it. You can get a blink on it, start with Impale. But nah, you still have this TA, this Ench, who aren't gonna fulfill that role. Maybe they'll pick up the offlaner next on Nigma before some more heroes get banned out, so they can actually have a little bit more control this time.
What offlaner do you think they would like, Sheep?
I would probably just like to see one of my controls like classics, like Sand King, Teamfight, Initiator Men.
You're making a face too. What's
I
that face?
When you said classic, and I was like Furion.
No, not Furion.
Like,
anything but Furion.
Come on.
What a terrible Furion game this would be.
Alright. So right now, Nigma's lineup is like Ench is a lane winner and it has some kind of presence there. Okay. Don't pick Furion now. Alright, don't do it. There's a TB.
No, you should pick Furion. Right. This is really great.
Alright. Okay. If they picked any other like weaker carry style hero, then maybe I could go for that argue.
Pietro.
No, is it banned? Where?
It's banned. It's
banned. It's down there. Yeah. All right.
Nigma counted themselves.
Yeah. But yeah, no. Like Nigma right now, it's about presence in the lane, right? It's like the Enchantress will win lane, TA will farm jungle. They now go for the Drow themselves because, of course, Drow v TB, you always can just execute the TB from range, and they are going to play completely skirmishing. They're not going to farm for 15-20 minutes and wait. They're going to be the ones being proactive, is what we wanted to see from them in game 1.
We've got last picks coming up here with Hellbear Smashers probably looking for a mid laner and Team Nigma probably looking for an off laner. I mean, when I say probably, I mean almost definitely looking for an off laner. Sheep, what sort of... I've asked before about the off laner that you'd like to see on Team Nigma. Is it still for you that Mind Control Classic, or does the Drow offer some sort of other alternatives?
I would really like to see Doom on Nigma. Excellent hero to deal with Terrorblade. Phoenix, you get this refresher, you can just doom them both. So I don't want to deal with anything. I think Phoenix is a relatively weak lane support, so if they are playing it as a 5, you're not too worried about this lane. I don't think. He got armor buff, so you can deal with laning a little bit better in the off lane. I think it's a good hero. It can go in first with this Nyx. I think it provides what they want. I think it'd be great here for them.
And T, how about you? What do you want to see on Hellbears closing up in this mid lane?
I want to see a hero that can get onto the Drow and prevent her from just kind of popping off. They're banning out Batrider and Mars, which would have been these kind of so Mars would have been off lane, but potentially these kind of quirkier mid lanes that can just do that kind of job. And I feel like maybe even a Storm, sure there's a Nyx in the game, but like a Sanj Kaya BKB style Storm Spirit that just always just finds the hero. Again, stuns are a big issue for Nigma. They have Nyx, they have maybe a Centaur creep in Enchantress, a Gust on Silent on Drow, that's it, you know? So I feel like these just big mobile mid lanes, be it the Storm, get Drow, play around that, TB will eventually just, you know, play around the rest of the fight.
Well, Boronasia's still got Void Spirit and Storm Spirit to in his pool here as they ban out the Underlord. So quite a lot of those stun picks. I was thinking Mars for Team Nigma. I'm surprised they banned it because that's another classic mind control one. There's not a lot of offlaners left because both teams have been banning out offlaners consistently here. So it could be something like a Centaur. We're in the interesting world of offlaners remaining.
The Timber is still available, right? Like
Timber is
I don't think you want to play that into
no
the
stuns?
Phoenix.
Yeah, it's true, the break, yeah. I'm just trying to think, like, you don't really have stuns now. Oh, they go for the Timber. Hey.
What do I know?
new
What do
god.
I know? I'm just bad.
I did it. No, that's fine. Don't worry. No, but you are right, though, in regards to the idea of, like, the Timber, it doesn't feel great for the big picture point of the game, where there's the break on the Hoodwink, the Phoenix Sunray, all this stuff. Not going to be great. But the first 15 to 20 minutes, this hero will pop off. And that's why the Drow, the Ench, these heroes play with that. They're kind of fully subscribing to popping off, not playing for late. And that's why I kind of like the idea of Timber. But again, I can see Sheep's kind of concerns with the hero as well.
Sheep,
Just
what
feel
you
like
were
they would
talking
get
about a
bursted.
lot when you were... Sorry to interrupt, but what you were talking about a lot when you introduced this draft of what you wanted from Team Nigma was stuns. They've got one stun properly here. How do you feel about this draft as we see that Storm Spirit that we were predicting picked up for Hellbears?
I don't quite like it, but if we're going by what T says, that they're just going to run at you really fast, I think their lineup fulfills that without needing all this great pick-off. I think if they get into this mid to late game, they're going to struggle a lot. They don't have anything to protect this Drow going further into the game, so it will get rough for Nigma. But if they are good enough to execute this type of draft, so I think they can still put up a good fight.
Okay, T, do you think Team Nigma are good enough to execute this, or are you predicting a Hellbears win?
If they bring Ench Nyx to mid lane and prevent Storm from having good time farming jungle farming lane, offset his time, I can see Nigma winning this. If Storm has a decent game, has 1 or 2 items, when Nigma's pushing for high ground, they are eventually going to fall flat to one of those pickoffs. And I think Hellbear Smashers should be able to take this going later. So all emphasis on how they shut down the mid lane right now from Nigma.
Great. Well, can Team Nigma run away from it, or is it coming home for Hellbear Smashers? I'm going to hand over to the sumptuous sounds of SyndereN and SUNSfan.
Sumptuous. Wow. We're going to have a new
Googling
word every
again.
time, huh? You're going to Google every word that you actually know the definition beforehand?
Splendid and expensive looking. Yeah, I mean, this shirt that's
I did have a lot of work on my face. I will say that. So technically very true.
and more to go.
Yeah, a lot. We can need liposuction necks just for the neck area. But yeah, we have game 2 of this best of 3 SyndereN Hellbear Smashers versus Team Nigma. Nigma are the heavy favorites, I would say. I don't know if that's going too far. They lost game 1. But of course, the panel talked about the Smashers. They have been known to win a game and then lose the rest. Are you expecting a similar result here today?
I like their strategy. Again, I think, like the panel again pointed out, there's 1 stun in the Nyx. If the Nyx doesn't get to thrive and shut down a lot, you have a Storm Spirit on the enemy team with a lot of space. And I do, again, feel like it's not the same as game 1, aside from the fact that they only have this 1 hero with a stun, because this time I think Nigma are playing a faster tempo than last game. Last game they were farming a lot with their Gyro, with their TA, with their Tide. This time their offlaner, being a Timbersaw, can put a lot more pressure on the map and play higher tempo than a Tide can. Just lower cooldowns, earlier power spike. So that's definitely good for them, but I don't know. I'm still not sold. I need to see it in action. I need to see Nigma put their pedal to the metal and really get something done here early on. And if there's one hero Kuro, like, let's think back to the major. If there's one hero where Kuro pops off, it's Ench. So we had that game where he went like 7-0 in the first, I want to say 10 minutes.
I think he got an ultra kill that game, if I'm not mistaken.
He was very, very farmed.
Yeah, we'll see if he has a similar result this time around. But for the Smasher side, shout out to the guy that tweeted at me. Really appreciate you. The correct pronunciation is Borania, SyndereN.
I got another tweet.
Did you? And
yes, which says both are correct. It can either be Borania or Borania, depending on which accent you use. He thinks it's probably Borania because of a big N in the name.
Yes.
And it means green beans.
Great. I'm not a big fan.
Green beans.
Are you a fan of green beans, SyndereN?
Yeah, they're actually pretty good. I do like green beans.
Okay, good for you. I'm glad you like something in life.
But I don't like celery, so when Viking are playing later, we can hate on that.
I love I like the player celery. Yeah, that's true. I guess I'm on the same train as you. As we're gonna see a split of the bounties. There's absolutely zero action. I feel like we've been seeing less action in the last month for the level 1 bounties. I don't know if it's just me. Remember when it was first implemented with nighttime, we started seeing like these first bloods every single game, basically. It feels like it's kind of died off a bit. Why do you think that is?
It's a good question. I guess if you do stack on bounties, you do run the risk of, well, what if the enemy team just isn't there? Then you end up trading regardless, but your heroes now have to cross the entire map to get to their lanes, or use a TP, which is a very valuable resource. So I think a lot of the times maybe players are just looking at like the risk-reward. If we stack the rune, doesn't matter. And if we don't stack, the maximum amount of heroes we can realistically send to a rune is 3. Because if we send any more, we're either not blocking mid or we're not in our other side lane. So, yeah, I guess it's just like a natural progression of it. There are still some level 1 smokes pulled off, but I feel like they often find the kill before the bounties rather than on them. Right. That's when teams usually... Oh,
what do you think of this setup as...
Tofu's super dead.
Yeah, Tofu getting completely blocked out, and that is the first blood for Nigma. I was going to ask, what do you think of the... It started as ILTW and GH in this lane. Obviously, Kuroki coming in to help backstab there. But what are your thoughts on the laning setup for both respective teams?
I think it's perfect for Nigma. This is what you want. It's such a good top lane for Timbersaw against Dragon Knight +1. They don't have enough damage between Hoodwink and DK to realistically kill Mind Control, and as soon as he gets level 3, he'll just thrive here. He's just going to farm. And in the meantime, this bottom lane of Smashers will struggle, because Terrorblade, while he would be decent against the dual lane here, the tri-lane factor just makes him too susceptible, and he has to always be scared when Enchantress is missing and trying to find a flank. Koro's actually going to elect to go mid here with a Satyr Tormentor. This would be a very unexpected gank for...
Yeah, Borania is very low right now. You can see tanky. The Hellbear, the shockwave comes out, the blocks to continue, with his own wave contributing to it. Has to pop the Fairy Fire, but in the end, Miracle gets... Actually, it was Kuroki. Gets the kill with the Satyr.
Classic Kuro.
It was very sad indeed, as we're going to see another kill in the top lane. Wow. Okay, so each lane, there's a kill for Nigma. Good start.
I don't know how valuable that kill was for Mind Control. He lost a full wave of creeps that Rasmus is just holding at the tower, so I'm gonna chalk that death up to honestly being a trade. You see Rasmus coming out here. They're playing a dual lane, and Rasmus has the same experience as Mind Control right now, so that means all of that experience on Hoodwink is just extra. So they are winning the lane in terms of overall experience gain, but yeah, still nice for Mind Control to find a kill, of course. But he does have the 2 CS to the 12 of Dragon Knight. So they're definitely,
That is true. I mean, there's a certain point where Timbersaw, once you get level 4, I assume, and it's basically unkillable, at least in most matchups. Is that pretty consistent with this one, or is it a little bit different?
Yeah, usually you will go 1-0-2 or 0-1-2, so you get the 2 in reactive on level 3, but he skilled the Timber Chain to find that kill on the Hoodwink. So yeah, he's delaying the immortality almost in the lane to level 4, like you said, and he's grabbing that now. I think... Honestly, I like this from Gilger. Like, if Rasmus has this good of a start on the Dragon Knight that he can 1v1 in this lane and just farm, Gilger can try to deal with the pressure elsewhere on the map. And by moving after Kuro, he is essentially giving Terrorblade farm bot, who otherwise doing great. Ace
TA,
has 17,
sorry,
16 for 9 on the Terrorblade after Kuro started bot for that tri-lane action. And of course, when he rotated mid for that kill, you open up the space for mid, but still, yeah, Smash is doing well in lanes.
Well, mid lane, I mean, Miracle obviously helped. Well, he didn't technically get the kill, but he has double the CS right now over Bornea in this mid lane. TA versus
Huge
Storm.
advantage from that inch gank, for sure.
That helped quite a bit.
Ace bot?
And
Ace is dead.
okay. Yeah. Oh, that last right
Ace is
click,
not
not quite
dead.
enough, but Kuroki is in the vicinity. Ace does have a TP available, and we'll use it to go to the tier 1. Looks like he'll be successful in doing so. Gilgar, in the meantime, does get up a nice bushwhack, so they do see 3 members of Nigma here. And Salvan Ace will keep him safe. So that was extremely close, but I mean, it's not a good matchup in general with Kuro having that level of impetus. Any magic or
that's
pure
bad
damage
for
against this
Terrorblade.
hero. Timbersaw obviously great against Terrorblade at certain points of the game. I mean, what do you think of the hero in general this game? It was the 4th pick, I believe, right, from the Smashers.
Honestly, a lot of the time when it comes to later in the game for Terrorblade, I think one of the biggest threats to him is getting stunned. Like, that's when you can't get your Sunder off and you can get bursted 100 to 0. It's hard to see Nigma pull that off in this game in one Nyx stun. They probably need all of TA, Timber, and Drow to be able to connect once Ace has a couple of items. So I think it's a good Terrorblade game later on. But for now, obviously some of the counters are definitely very much in play. Like you said, the Enchantress. The Drow is pretty good in lane against Terrorblade, especially when she reaches level 6. At that point, Ace might just go jungle anyway. But
I mean, you talked about
I
it
do
just
think Terrorblade
now,
can
and the panel kind of talked about it earlier as well, the fact that the lack of stun from Nigma again, like 2 games in a row. Is this just something they're... Like, obviously, when you have a lesser stuns on your side, it's harder to execute, generally speaking. But is it just something they're really comfortable with? Like, is this like a planned thing? It just happens to be heroes that they want to play that just don't have stuns? Are we just Are we overstating this fact that they have lack of stuns in general?
it's better this time because Nyx's stun is not Ravage, right? It's a lower cooldown, so you have it more frequently, and you do have the secondary stun in Carapace as
bot lane,
super
Tofu's dead. Yep, he's actually going to dive all the way around, 360. Beautifully
Good
done,
trade,
but
though.
ILPW
They
getting
double
blocked up by
trade.
Gilgar. In the meantime, Ace has that Metamorphosis, so they're able to clean him up. A very high value kill for Smashers this
That
time
is
around.
great for Smashers bottom lane, getting a 2-for-1. Under those conditions, the Phoenix got jumped and they immediately just popped the Metamorphosis and traded right back. But yeah, just to follow up on the stuns, I don't think that's like a plan they have going into the game, that they're like, hey guys, let's not pick stuns in this series. Like, I don't.
Maybe they
that
have
sounds
a
like
quest
a really weird
in the
way of
game.
strategizing. Yeah. It sounds like a weird way of strategizing, but yeah, I'm still feeling like they should have at least one more hero that has lockdown. I feel like just having Nyx is hard. It's still better than just having Tide. Unless, so here's where the last game's lineup, this is a little bit of a tangent, I guess, but in the last game, to put it simply, a lot of the time if you have very few stuns, but the stun you do have is a big teamfight one, it can work very well if you can force the enemy team to come fight you at towers, right? Then that's your quote-unquote catch, is that you go to towers and they need to defend. But what were their cores in last game? It was TA and Gyro. It wasn't like a Dragon Knight or a Terrorblade that's going to smash that tower so you have to come and fight into the Ravage. So I do think that there was a bit of a disconnect there. Those are the games where I like the one stun Tide kind of thing, is when you take the fights to towers. Did that make sense?
Yeah. Yes, the very long tangent made a lot of sense. I mean, they do have the Centaur Stomp. We failed to mention, obviously, Enchantress will be valuing that.
Gonna have that all game.
Very respectable creep, of course. You just got to put in the gold, and you will get that creep that you want every time. But in addition, you talk about Nyx Assassin. We've been seeing Aghanim Scepter like every single freaking game on this hero, and it has had huge impact on games. As GH is going to find a stun onto Gilgar in the meantime, but there's a TP out, and like you said, no stuns after that Impale without that Centaur in tow.
It's still good though. Like, yeah, he doesn't die, but they force him away, and this is now a naked tower that nobody's getting experience at. Obviously, the Hoodwink wants to sit there and just leech. So it's kind of a pseudo kill, forcing the TP back to base, because all that experience is now going to waste. And Terrorblade has decided to leave the lanes. Oh, Rasmus is really far up here.
He was trying to apply some pressure to this tier 1, but Nigma are here in numbers, and there we can see the Spike Carapace set up another stun, but the impetus not quite enough to take out Token. In the meantime, Bornea trying to finish off Miracles. Ace has made his way onto
No mana on
the
mind
field
control.
as well. Yeah, Mind Control not able. He has Soul Ring in 3 seconds, and it's like he will be saved by his team. As Boran has to use basically the rest of his mana pool just to get out of the right-click range here. I mean, this is something we didn't talk about from Nigma's side. Between the TA, eventually, obviously, and the Drow, they have some major push potential.
And Miracle's hungry. Oh, a nice juke from Tofu. Very nice.
Gilger's going to be found out here, though. Gets the Bushwhack off in the meantime. It's going to break things up, so no deaths in the mid lane.
I have not seen many jukes around that tree. This is obviously one of the newer features of the map, but very nice. He completely tricks Miracle, who was honestly very kill hungry there, and I understand. He has double damage. He felt invincible, so he went for it. But
Boran is in a lot of trouble. Impales there, but the zip away. Multi-shot not quite enough, as now they're going to apply all the pressure to this tier 1 tower. Smashers, they can only delay the inevitable, it seems, as this tower is definitely dead now.
Yeah. Loving this from Nigma. It's exactly what their lineup wants to do. Use the Timber Sauce, Power Spike, use the Enchantress to get this early pressure. Getting mid tower sub 10 is very good against Dragon Knight, who will usually be pushing your mid tower and forcing you to defend. You instead just killed him and did the reverse. Immediate Uno reverse play.
Wow, I haven't played that in a while. You a big Uno player?
No.
Okay. Well,
good talk.
That's the best segment I've ever... We should add that to the podcast, I think, is bottom lane, GH. And this is one thing about the Spike Carapace against a Phoenix-type hero, is you get those Fire Spirits out, it's going to be a pretty much guaranteed stun, as Rasmus getting pressure in the meantime in the top lane by Mind Control. Doesn't have a whole lot of mana to speak of, and only a couple right-clicks done to this tower, although it is at half HP, but Kuroki's here now. Gets a couple right-clicks with that impetus. Just trying to pressure Rasmus out so he doesn't get the tier 1 in one go.
Yeah, wasting Dragon Forms is really the name of the game for Nigma here. They want to stay ahead on towers, so their biggest problem for the Dragon Knight is literally just, how do I get through Timber? Because his team can't really kill him right now. This is nice from Rasmus. He's gonna cut through. He sees Timber at the front. He's gonna go hit the tower around the side and back off. He's getting whatever chip damage he can, but once again, Dragon Form is now down, and he has yet to take a tower at 11 minutes on this DK, so job well done for Nigma here.
Indeed. Now in useless human form, gets off the Dragon Tail, but that'll be the end of his reign for another 50 seconds. Borania working on an Orchid, that's going to be his first item, has the 1 Oblivion Staff right now.
I like that. And we should rename the abilities. He should have, like, powerful Dragon Form and useless human form. To really, for new players, as a way of understanding how to play their hero.
Maybe it's unlocked with the new Persona, which Rasmus does not have, sadly. Make the hero even easier to play. He's going to get enough of the Dragon Tail here. Maybe we can just call that Stun, right?
Yes.
Give him the Slardar treatment. Ace is in the vicinity, along with Gilger here. Bushwhack not able to connect on the Sharpshooter, will be in the blind. We'll end up whiffing there. Another stun from Rasmus. He's going to get pressure now. Mind Control gets off the Chakram. Has to be pretty careful here.
Really fortunate, by the way, for Gilger to get the Ironwood Tree 2 games in a row.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
It's it is so good on Hoodwink, so it's
gonna be happy about that. There's a percentage? They're actually going to find GH. He's going to get zipped on as well. There is a sentry in the vicinity, and this is going to be an easy cleanup. So now you know they have a sentry there, but it costs him a death. What if the percentages of neutral items, and we didn't even know about it, just went up by X% if you're playing a specific hero?
Yeah. What if?
What if that was already in the game for the last 2 years and we didn't even know it? Wouldn't that be crazy?
There are tools that are stat tracking, right? I feel like that would become an anomaly at some point if you look at the stats for every game played.
Stats lie. I don't know if you've heard this. That's a very common
stats
saying.
Stats are a lie. Correct.
Absolutely. Mind Control. All right. Reflection is there. Timber Chain to the other side. Doesn't have a whole lot of mana. Bushwhack is going to connect into the Metamorphosis, into the Zip as well, and the Sharpshooter just to make sure they're able to take out that pesky Timber Saw. Now the Tier 1 tower. Rasmus finally able to finish this off. So, like you said, it took 13.5 minutes.
So far. It's looking great. I think Gilger's doing a very good job at just playing the... I think the biggest strength of Hoodwink in the first, 15 to 20 minutes is just this ability to just be kind of a, it's an assassin. It's kind of playing like Nyx, that it's coming out of trees where you don't expect it. Even if you have vision in the lanes, you can still get like flanked somehow out of an angle you didn't think about, and just sets up that nice stun burst combo similar to what Nyx does. So
Right.
it is, I think a ranged Nyx is sounds pretty powerful to me.
Yeah, I would say so, since he's a melee hero. Tier 1 tower getting pressured in the bot lane. Looks like it's going to go down. The question is, can Tofu deny? He actually had the opportunity, but wants to stay in the shadows right now. Borania. This is another target from GH perspective. You can get off an easy spike carapace setup as long as there's a teammate nearby.
Yeah, you need TA near so you find this. He has haste on Miracle. Oh, Borania.
All right. Yeah, things have kind of settled down a bit now that these couple tier 1 towers have been taken out. If you're just joining us, the Hellbear Smashers are actually up 1-0, similar to what the Suns are in the NBA Finals versus the Milwaukee Bucks.
Okay, good
in case you weren't keeping up on the NBA news. GH, that was not Vendetta.
He's actually
smoked up.
Wait.
That's the jump in. Okay, Sharpshooter's actually not going to connect, so no break onto the Timbersaw here. Ooh, this could be a big stun. GH looking for the Impale. It's only going to connect on one, but it's a very important hero. The Gust is there as well, and an easy cleanup for Team Nigma. Looks like Gilgir will be next on the menu for Mr. Miracle. Double kill for him, and it's going to be a tier 1 tower as well.
Miracle is insanely farmed. 10 CS a minute. He's going to go straight to Roche in these 20 seconds. I think they're going to grab this as well. So huge swoop here from Nigma on that move. Getting the Gust on Storm, crucial. It was a nice Orchid coming out from Borania, but he was already stunned, and then piece of cake for LTW to land that Gust, and they will give this Aegis more than likely over to Miracle so he can keep the ball rolling. Looking at a Blink Dagger within the next minute and a half or so, and getting the last hit on Roche for the bonus gold. It's pretty concerning for Smashers right now. I think compared to the last game, the position that they're in with their lineup, it feels like the pressure is mounting a lot more. Where Nigma were sitting back in game 1, they're really just fighting them a lot, using this Timbersaw and the Nyx.
Bottom lane, GH gets off the initiation, but the egg is there from Tofu. I thought they had enough damage for sure, but instead it's going to be a cleanup crew onto GH. ILTW dies on the other side of the map in the meantime. Was that the Orchid reveal? I believe so. So it's a 2-for-0 across the map for Smashers. Wow. Not expecting that.
Now all I can think about is ramen.
Tofu?
Egg from Tofu. It's like, oh, I could really...
Yeah, that would have been a good name for Rasmus, maybe. By the way, I got the heads up from T-Gov on the lore behind Rasmus's name. Obviously, it's his first name. We already knew that.
Yeah.
Apparently, you were correct in the fact that he thought Misery was too depressing. So he changed it to his first name. And then the reason that the A and the S are capitalized is because he thought it looked cool. That's literally it. That is the greatest lore of any name.
I think you should capitalize the last S as well, so it's ass that's capitalized. I think that's and that's very cool.
I'm not sure if he's close with Too Good, but that could be another discussion entirely. Is this double stack is going to be found here from Team Nigma? Yeah. They'll be able to clean it up pretty easily now that Miracle has the
daggers coming out.
Yeah, right.
I think it's really go time for Nigma here. You want to put pressure. Now that you have the dagger on TA, you are way less reliant on Nyx's catch to get on top of specific heroes. Like the TA can basically 2-shot Phoenix, 2-shot Hoodwink. If you need to have pretty quick reactions on these heroes to get away in time. If there's literally anything else connecting on you than the TA, you just die so fast. You're going to see Tofu here. He's in a trap. Let's see if Miracle tries for it. Tofu with a good sidestep around the trees here. Really fortunate timing, actually, but there's the third attack coming in.
Oh, the Yules! It gives him a little bit of extra time, and he's actually salving on top of it.
Sideblade. Oh, that looked spicy for a moment.
Yeah, Sideblade did clip him, so the salve gets canceled. But he lives!
How is that even a hit?
That was pretty far range. Yeah, that must have been max range for sure. Has another trap out. Yeah, they're scared. Courier was killed from Miracle's side not too long ago. Has the Desto blink like you talked about the Dragon Lance, and ILTW dies again. They're going to focus on Ace here. Sunder is available, but the stun just in time from GH, so position 1 for position 1. Now the chase is on. Tofu, he's still living.
Position 1 on Nigma's team. It's not ILTW this game. I think it's another guy.
Yeah, that's true.
He's very hungry, and he will find more food. 1, 2, 3. Not enough for 3
rainbow.
shots,
rainbows have never hurt so much. Bushwhack only going to connect on one. Gilgert trying to use his ult to create a little bit of extra distance, but the triple kill for Miracle, pretty extended. This was over the span of a minute. But he is
Look at the net worth
on
of the
another
game.
level right now.
He is 4,000 net worth ahead of the next hero, and Nigma have a 1k lead. So this is one of those games where it's I'm not going to say it's Miracle against the world, because that's like making it sound like his teammates are doing nothing, but you have so much net worth on one specific hero that is notorious for being snowbally and being susceptible in some cases. If Hellbear Smashers identify that the gold is sitting the way it is, killing Miracle just wins them fights. Because there's not enough in the tank from the rest of the lineup with how much he has taken out of the bank. So a very, very good target for Hellbear Smashers going forward here. They managed to lock that down. And he is very killable, right? He's playing without BKB, they don't have a save in their team. So if he gets caught by, say, a Storm, or a Dragon Tail, or by a Hoodwink Bushwhack, I think they can 100 to 0 him relatively easily, actually.
Yep, I agree. Oh, right now they can't because he has Aegis, but
yes,
after
that's
that,
why they're playing so aggressively here. But
and as a result of this aggressiveness, the tier 2 tower looks to be basically dead. Borania is in the vicinity, sporting off the Kaya right now. But yeah, looks like it's going to be a freebie. This is essentially what Aegis will get you. Outer towers at the very least. Not sure if Nigma actually want to force a fight, or if Hellbear Smashers will even try to fight at this stage. As you talked about the BKB, Miracle is 700 away from finishing it, so he is gigantic.
There's a lot of good items coming out. Terrorblade is close to his BKB as well, 1k off. You've got the Shard coming up for Phoenix in 50. They're actually choosing to smoke right before they get the Shard. Dragon Knight could buy his Sanj, but he's holding on to buyback Rasmus. Let's see if they do find anything with the smoke. The biggest pick possible is Miracle. Aegis has expired, so this is the reason they're smoking. Oof. And they're going to see him on the wave. Oh, this is such a good move.
Yeah, it pops
He's
the dragon
dead.
form.
He doesn't have dagger.
Blink into the Dragon Tail, Sunray to follow, and yeah, this is an easy one.
Oh, they even get the bounty on Ace. Perfect for them. Gilgir, best efforts to kill steal there with Sharpshooter, but it was a little bit too slow. And unfortunately for him, the gold goes to his carry, who's more likely to win the game with that gold. So
yeah, real shame. Real crying shame for sure.
That's going to be BKB coming out for Ace now before the BKB of Miracle. Because of this one kill, it just swings the balance that much. And that's a key item for Hellbear Smashers, I think, in order to contest the Roche. So you might be like, why is Terrorblade choosing to go for BKB when he's literally only against the Nyx stun and a Gust? But the damage mitigation against Timbersaw is just huge. It allows him to stand his ground in the fights. He has a lot of armor against the TA, so he'll survive that in BKB. And against the Drow, he should also be able to handle it.
Like Carapace and the Lotus Orb basically stop this initiation and start things out, but it's not going to matter. GH is donezo. Mind Control looks to be next to ILTW on the high ground with the Gust, and it just blow up Borania and Rasmus thanks to Miracle's right clicks and make it a third. Ace takes a tumble, and just like that, Team Nigma take a firm grip on this game. They even find a fourth in the backline here from Mind Control. And we talked about this, SyndereN, if there's no Roche, you can get buildings super fast with a Drow and a super farm TA.
That looked really good for Hellbears. I completely understand why they went for that. Oh, they're going to get Gilgir here as well, I think. Oh, good juke.
All right, the Scurry being of some use, but delays it.
So they found the kill on Nyx, right? And they see Timber, and they feel like they're in a really good position. Miracle response comes back in, and he just two-shots them with Drow. Like, that one Psyblade, I think, took 30 or 40% of Dragon Knight's health while he was hitting the Storm. They just vanished completely. And that is scary. Obviously, Storm's still susceptible to being gusted. I'm not completely sold on his item build of going Orchid Bloodstone here, because I think when you look at how their lineup functions, if Storm has the freedom to jump, the rest of the team can follow up so easily. So I would have personally liked the BKB here out of Borania, just so he can ignore Gust and ignore the Nyx and just be like, oh, I see a target I want, I can go. They're never going to stop me, but he is obviously very susceptible to that Gust, which has killed him twice this game now. And ILTW has even elected to go for a Shadow Blade just to find more Gusts, I think, against this hero.
Wow, he is. This is the pub build from Dota 1, sister. Of course, Dragonlance didn't exist back then, but the Lothar's sniper / drow meta, I don't know if you were a part of that, because that was a disgusting period in Dota history, a very dark time in our history.
It really was a disgusting time in Dota history. I remember Techies was my favorite hero. So
oh my
those were
God.
my dark years.
Is that actually true? Is Tofu? He's going to get spotted out. The silence is there. Miracle. Yeah. That Roche was the first Roche, right?
Yes.
So Miracle bought his shard, actually. That's pretty cool. So it gets the silence on the traps.
I think, yeah, they want the silence on traps against Storm, and if they do grab the second Roche, they're going to give it to Timbersaw, which is great as well. Oh, they got the jump on Miracle. He does
a bit of trouble here, but mind control's in the vicinity. Borny has already used half his HP, but a big bushwhack on the 2. Initiation, Sharpshooter's going to be connected, but it's on the Timbersaw. They really want Miracle, plus the BKB. He dies anyway. Now Chakram onto 2 with the guts from the sideline. LPW with that Lothar's being used to full effect. They're going to get 2 cores out of this. The Sunder comes through, though, from Ace and the BKB. That is a dead Drow Ranger. GH looks to be next, despite Carapace not in time because of the BKB timing there. Triple kill for Ace. Huge fight for Smash It. Did cost him a buyback, though.
Why is everyone tipping Ace? That was Gilger getting a dream stun. They're all just tipping Ace. He literally set that whole thing up with a double stun on Timber as well as TA.
Oh, and
Roche leads into Roche. This is so big for them. Again, though, you gotta say, I think Borania got gusted again. Isn't that what happened? I think he got gusted and killed for a 3rd time in a row now. He still
popped out of his Shadow Blade and into a gust. Yeah, we're gonna see the bushwhack again. Gilger has been absolute god tier on this hero, by the way. I know some of it's set up with the Ironwood tree, some RNG there, but Tofu, okay, he has his egg, so
almost
not in that much trouble, really. Just trying to delay things here is Team Nigma. Mind control. You might just jump in. The egg is there with the Sunray coming through. He picks up the shard on top of all of this, and Kuroki just getting bursted down eventually. The egg connects finally, and it looks like Timbersaw's next on the menu. 5 versus 1, essentially. The buyback onto Kuro, but will this matter? I mean, the 2 cores are available. 2K network lead for Nigma. Yeah, Roche at basically
they're going
1/3
for that.
HP.
I don't know.
Yeah, they're going to jump into Miracle, but there's the guts to follow. Huge bushwhack again! Onto 2! Can they kill Miracle? He gets all the refraction just in time. Borania trying to do enough right-click damage, but Miracle with the BKB can't sustain it. Buyback is available, though, on this Storm Spirit. Now the BKBs are gone. Ace has to pop his BKB, gets that Sunder off onto Kuro. This will be a dieback on him if he's not careful. Phoenix jumps in as well. Has already used basically everything. Has to be careful as Ace needs to get this kill before Tofu takes the tumble. That is a dieback onto Kuro.
Mind control holding his the whole time, not buying back for this fight. They do have the outpost, so he could have TP'd in. But instead now they're giving ground to Smashers who... There's no BKB on the TA. I think going in as Miracle here is really difficult. You can just get Dragon Tailed and you're in trouble. He gets forced away here. I like this from Rasmus as long as he stays alive. Well, they're still not doing
they just don't have the damage. Now that meta is down, they just have to...
10 seconds.
This is going to be one of those stalemates, I feel like. 15 seconds on Storm. Does have buyback. Oh my god, he might have to... I don't know. The Roche will get decimated by Nigma for sure. As they are now in the pit. 5 seconds on Storm. He can basically zip from base. But now they forced him out of the pit, so he'll have time to just TP back normally. This is a huge turning point here, potentially.
They do have meta,
Smashers.
and they do have Dragon Form. Actually, everything except Sunder is ready in 10 seconds.
They're going to jump on this Hoodwink. They'll get that kill right after that, but he's going to have to buy back in the game. But they get Rasmus in the end, and now the silence onto Borania has to zip away. He did find ILTW in the end. That's a pretty big kill as well. So essentially, it's a Drow for a Dragon Knight, if you want to look at it that way. As Ace has already popped the meta. Now he's almost forced to go for this Roche. And Nigma just need to try to delay this as long as possible. It's already half duration on meta. Take out the troll in the meantime. Miracle. He's ready to go. I don't know if they can take this Roche anymore, SyndereN.
I think they want to try to find a pick, but they've lost their Dragon Knight, so the guy who has to go into the Storm, and he's a bit worried about committing, I think.
Yeah,
for sure. We're going to steal a Tier B illusion here.
And Ace's meta is almost done. Ooh, this is risky business right here, my friends. Chakram gonna scout things out. Committed. A lot of damage being done to Roshan. He pops into his melee form. There's the egg from the sideline into the Sunray as well. Roshan is taken out by the Smasher.
Pick up the Aegis.
Michael gets stunned in the meantime. Borania picks up the Aegis. Not sure who gets the shard and cheese. We'll have to look at that a little bit later as Miracle pops his BKB with the refraction. Borania has to pop the Bloodstone to try to stay alive here. Tofu finally taken out in the end. It's a 1-for-1 to start things out. Borneo with basically no mana to speak of. They just need to get the hell out of here. But the Impale, mana burn, right clicks. That is the Aegis down. He's going to be full mana, full HP now. GH getting stunned with another Bushwhack. Spike Carapace is there. But there's the Gust from the side. And ILTW showing himself from the shadows with that Shadow Blade. Borneo, this is going to be a second death for him after the Aegis. And Rasmus even popped his Dragon form and died right after he respawned. And now Ace, he's going to get bursted down by this right click. It's too much to handle from Team Nigma's side. Holy Jesus, what the hell was this fight? Good lord.
Yeah, I don't even know where to start with this. Yeah, so
right, Shard is on TB right now.
Yeah, and he also got the cheese. He used the cheese in that final fight, very clutch, but it wasn't enough. But he used it at like 5% health against that Nyx TA combo. But again, man, I'm gonna sound like a broken record, but every time I look at Storm, he's gusted. Like, it was again and again and again. He's just dying to this, and I can't help but feel like...
He's going for BKB now.
Yeah, he is. It is kind of late after you lost the lane of Barracks, but I honestly think that could be what it takes for them to swing the game around. Nice stun here from Gilgir, but Nigma will do a great job here at punishing and getting this mid lane of Barracks after that fight. Like you said, though, it's all over the place, and really, I do think Nigma's biggest advantage right now is we've been harping on the Storm BKB. Dragon Knight is close to his as well, but he also doesn't have it yet. So this Timbersaw Nyx combo are just finding kills on heroes that they will struggle so much more to find very, very soon. But for the time being, big win for Nigma here.
Yeah, absolutely.
This might sound weird, but they have a 6k gold lead right now, right? And then the last fight, I think it was 1. If these two BKBs complete, I think the fight will be harder for Nigma than before, even with 6k gold more. Just because these BKBs really just changed the dynamic of the fight. Oh, they found him again!
Oh my god. 70 seconds, he has buyback. And now that they've taken this tier 2 bot, they can actually go for a second Rax and force this buyback out. But you're right, this not having a BKB has been basically 4 deaths, I want to say. As he has 7 right now, so that's being generous, I feel like. Tofu, he's taking a lot of damage. We'll make it back to his fountain, though. And we talked about TA. GH, of course, does have the Aghanim Scepter now, so he's a burrowed piece of dirt. Has ridiculous amplification to all his spells, essentially, in one way or another. That is a second set of racks, and now they're just going to go for a throne to try to force this buyback. Yeah, he's going to have to buy back here. Rasmus pops the dragon form. This indicates that they want to go on. Oh, the blink out from Miracle. He's not even able to get stunned. Rasmus pops the BKB. There's the buyback now from the Storm Spear. He zips in and does basically nothing. Phoenix is done, though, but does have buyback as well. By the way, the shard was picked up by Dragon Knight. That's who used it, and he already used his Fireball, and he's dead. And that is a dieback, essentially. GH, all right. He's going to get initiated on, but there's the egg on top of him with the Sun Ray, the right click from Ace. It's not going to be enough, though. The Phoenix egg is taken out. Ace is going to die as well. Ultra kill for Miracle. And just like that, game 2 comes to an abrupt end, SyndereN. What the hell?
Wow. Yeah, as we know, second Roche, 80% win rate, so when you get that, you obviously lose after 3 minutes. Like, that's just...
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that was such a swift punish from Nigma. And again, okay, I'll say it one last time. They really, really took advantage of lack of BKBs. I think it was a great read from them to just identify, okay, you know what? These heroes can't deal with us right now. And they just jump on them. Any Gust, any Nyx stun, they kill. And we were talking pre-game about how Nigma are lacking in the disable department, but actually the Gust turns out to be the game-winning disable, kind of, with the 5 kills on Storm. And Borneo has to be
the craziest thing
kicking
for me
himself a bit.
Is ILTW ends up playing basically a different role. He buys Shadow Blade with a Nyx on your team. So in theory, there's going to be a lot of sentries already there, but is able to maneuver himself into position to get these amazing gusts off. I have never seen a position 1 turn into basically a support for all intents and purposes. That was pretty crazy.
They really set up Miracle for success this way. They trust in him. He has insane farm. They know how far ahead he is. The Drow doesn't need to itemize a ton of stats, just needs to make sure to land the Gust and get in some right clicks and be an aura for the TA. And it worked wonderfully for Nigma. I'm still, even after this win, like, it looks like a swift win in the end. It looked tough. That Roche pit, like, the 2 minutes at that Roshan pit could have gone horribly wrong, but they did weather the storm. and managed to pull it off. But I'm still not convinced, even based on this win. I'm still not convinced in this way of drafting that they're doing right now and the way that they're playing around each other. I think there's more way to go for them if they want to win this whole thing. But it's day one. So
Smashers can definitely win Game 3, no doubt. But let's go to a quick break and see what the panel has to say about the basically no stun lineup winning this time.
Well, it must be nearly lunchtime as I can smell fried tomatoes as Team Nigma turn up the heat on Hellbear Smashers. Sheepstick, why don't you talk me through the key pain points of that game?
First of all, team, my condolences. They're doing it again. Yes. That is a loss for poor Hellbears. I think Nigma executed their high-tempo draft really well. I think Miracle going near unpunished in the game, through his own good plays, of course, but really enabled that draft to work in their favor. I don't think he died for a very long time. It was his first death when he didn't use his BKB. Gilgo got that excellent double stun. I think they just did really good movements early with Kuroki on his Enchantress, ganking the mid lane, setting him up to have a really good game. They did, at around 15 minutes, they did this great move where they took the triangle as Hellbears tried to go on Timbersaw top. And then that enabled them to get the jump on them, kill them, and then take the first Roshan. And I think that was the key moment that just enabled their draft to do what it wanted to do.
16-2 on that Templar Assassin from Miracle. T-Governor, do you agree that this was the Miracle show?
Yeah, the way that Nigma play with the TA in the mid lane is always kind of propping him up to have these performances where it's 16-2. I think the way that Smashers were able to get those 2 kills is what allowed them to be so close within this game. I think it was minute 12 or something, or 15. This TA had 12k net worth. It was disgustingly big. 19 minutes, but anyway. And it's the fact that Smashers were able to kill him a couple times was amazing. I think we kind of skipped past it, but the mid lane matchup between his counterpart, the Storm Spirit, they touched on it in the cast, and I feel the reason why this TA had such a great game was just because this Storm wasn't really a threat within the game. When you don't buy this BKB, when you're jumping into the fight, it's Gust, Impale, Carapace, plus whatever creep Enchantress has. That's the stun department, right? And this Storm, unfortunately, he wasn't really able to be at the forefront of the engagement. And that enabled RTW to go for this kind of utility core style Drow Ranger, going for the Shadow Blade, because it just complicated these fights. And I feel this game was so close. This Roshan attempt, it was 3 minutes and 50 seconds long or something. It's a 4-minute Roshan fight. And if only they had a couple more resources, Smashers can retreat from that confidently and then take the next fight. But yeah, Nigma, they punished it beautifully. Miracle, of course, popping off with the score that you quoted. And they play around that kind of desire to be in your face really well. If you look at every highlight of this game, this is not Nigma waiting this time. It's them running into the triangle like Sheep said. It's them running at the towers early on with the Timbersaw. It's they're the ones being proactive. But that Roshan fight, I was just spinning around in circles on my chair. I was just do it, take it, ooh. It was just an I don't know. I don't want to watch that fight again because I don't know if my heart can take it. I'm getting old now, so no more 4-minute Roshans, please, teams.
Okay, well, will Team T-Governor survive a Game 3, or will he spin around in his chair and make himself too dizzy to continue? We're going to head to a quick break, but we'll be right back for a beautiful Game 3. And we're back for this decisive game 3 with the momentum firmly in Team Nigma's court, with the momentum not in Hellbear Smash's court. We're straight into a draft, I believe, but Cheapo, talk to me about what you want to see Hellbears do in this game 3 to turn things around.
I like what they've been doing so far. As we can see, they have gotten their Hoodwink again. I think Gilger's been playing absolutely phenomenally on that hero, so I do like to see what they're doing here. Honestly, if they can just take what they did in the first game, just not let themselves lose so hard on mid maybe this time. A lot of the game fell on DK's shoulders last game, having to play on his blink timing rather than Storm's timing because they pressured him so effectively on Nigma. Maybe you pick a support alongside Hoodwink on Hellbear that can respond to these mid ganks and help out a little bit more early TP rotations. I think that could be pretty good for them.
Well, they've got the same 2 opening picks with this DK Hoodwink, but they've also banned out the Miracle TA, which felt like the linchpin of the Team Nigma draft in Game 2, and also quite a lot in Game 1 as well. T-Governor, is that enough for you? Do you think they can compete more effectively without Miracle on the TA?
I think there's not a lot of mid heroes that have that kind of accelerant to a draft that just allows you to run across the river and kill things once you have like 2 items. So I can see why they are respect banning it. It's kind of the same principle as Invoker, right? It's Quals works, you go for like Solar Crest, Vessel, whatever, you're fighting with your team. You take that now away, Miracle has to play a different style of mid. I think the amazing thing from this draft so far is that Game 1, we're mentioning, okay, the DK Hoodwink, will they go for the Timbersaw, but they don't really do that. Game 2, they win with like this last pick Timbersaw situation. Now it pushes all the way up into the first phase of butt picks. So just get the Timbersaw into the draft. We know how to play around it. And the scary thing here, it unlocks this aggro tri-lane that we saw in the Game 1. You know, Timbersaw just plays off on an island, can play 1-to-1 into DK, and then Nyx plus any aggressive support plus carry. That's a really devastating type of lane that you can construct from Nigma. I think Smashers have to start thinking about that now quite early in the draft.
So what thoughts do you reckon Hellbear Smashers are going to be having about this, Sheep? What sort of stuff do you want them to be picking up in these next 2 picks?
Well, I thought last game, we did see them get pickoffs on this Timbersaw with this Hoodwink. They were able to burst the heroes, so that's not exactly something they need to be worrying too much about. I was a little bit worried for Nigma. I won't lie. We talked about how they needed the momentum, but there were some good pickoffs on Hellbears that made it a little bit dicey for a bit. But I don't think they need to be worrying about that. I think they just need to give themselves, like I said, a way to protect their mid and not let it get pressured as hard of this DK. I love the AA. Great hero. Yeah. Really good against Timber. Strong right now.
It's the first AA we've seen so far.
Yeah, this DK AA is good.
Yeah, it's solid. And like it's going to be one of those simple stun into global ult, you know, killer hero. AA can play on one side of the map and then Hoodwink DK together. You're going to be blowing up these people quite quickly. And it does force Nigma to have to think about it a little bit. And also in laning phase, we haven't really mentioned that. If it is going to be this Trining v Trining scenario, AA Hoodwink, they're going to be pretty potent. Double rings ranged heroes. You have the stun into cold feet. You're going to be able to layer some spells into that, and I think Smash are just covering themselves a little bit with this aggression.
Team Nigma picking up that probably 5 Phoenix as we wait for the final second phase pick of Hellbear Smashers. But while we wait for that, if this stream is not quite British enough for you, I'd like to recommend the B stream where Into the Breach are facing off in their first series of the day. So head over there for a double British one. Let's look at this final Hellbear's pick of the phase 2. T, what would you like to see coming out here? Because they tend to leave their mid to last, so we're probably going to be expecting either an offlaner or a carry.
Yeah, in the last draft, they did pick up the Terrorblade. In this position, they picked up the carry, giving away Bo3 the last pick. And in the game before that, they kind of had the Lina very early on. So it really depends on what you see right now. And they go for okay. Mirana. So Bo3 has played some mid Mirana before. And this might open up for, mid Mirana. Isn't that just a play, actually? Yeah, I think it's just going to be a mid Mirana. And then you have this core that can deal with the egg. You don't have stuns against Nigma. They clearly hate stuns coming into the TI qualifiers. They've picked maybe, 1 or 2 per game so far. And it's worked for them, in one of the games.
Mm-hmm. Sheep, have you seen a lot of mid Mirana? Because that's not something I've seen very frequently.
No, not at all. I think it's very specific to Bora Nia. When I was sussing him out, he does love that hero. I think it's like one of his third most played or something like that in Pro Dota. So super comfortable. Pairs extremely well with Dragon Knight. They're going to be able to make plays very early. I think if Nigma did choose to do some high tempo lineup again with this Timbersaw, then I think what they have right now on Hellbear does match that pretty well. So it's a good pick.
So what sort of stuff would you be, because we're still probably therefore waiting for their carry, unless it is a carry Mirana, which seems unlikely. What sort of stuff do you pair with a mid Mirana? Do you know, T?
I'd just go with a bit more punch, like mid Mirana, you're going to be able to kill egg from minute 0 to the end of time, right? So get a carry that complements that as well. You eradicate the egg, then you have a carry coming in with a quick timing as well. I still would say Ursa. Again, we said that in game 1. Just go all out aggression. DK initiates the fight. You lay down an AA blast. That hero is dead. Phoenix kills the egg. Ursa jumps onto whatever core needs to go. This style of just copy Nigma's strategy from game 2, which was just everyone farm a little bit. Tia, of course, farms a lot, and then kill everything.
Both teams are now looking for a carry in their last 2 picks, which I always love these final 2 picks where they're looking for the same role, because you really get down to the bare bones of carries and get some quite interesting stuff coming out, with Team Nigma banning out that Faceless Void, Hellbear Smashers probably banning out something like, would you say a Luna? They've already banned out the Luna. What else would they be looking to ban out, Sheep?
Well, I thought at least Faceless Void was going to look very good for Hellbear. I was actually expanding on that. I'm surprised they did pick their Mirana there, because I think it's such an unconventional pick that it's not the type of hero that would get banned out by Nigma. So I think it might have been better to take a more better suited carry to your draft before these good ones like Faceless get banned out. So I'm not sure what will be left after Team Nigma finishes their ban here.
The Spectre going out. Always good to ban out the Arcana heroes.
That's true.
Love to play him.
Rasmus doesn't even have the Arcana, so it's like...
But he's not going to be playing the Spectre, so that's irrelevant.
He picks the DK, though, and then doesn't even have the Arcana, then bans the Spectre so that they can't show off the Arcana. He's doing the most anti-Valve draft possible.
Yes. If you keep on doing this, even if you qualify for the International, you won't be allowed to attend.
There we go.
Arcanus. Anti-mage banned out by Team Nigma. So final ban for Hellbear Smashers. Any snap prediction, Sheep? Look like a genius.
Maybe they'll bang out the PL again. We could see some good. I mean, it's a Manta bias. It's pretty decent against Ember Spirit. Well, no, that's a lie. No, it's pretty terrible. No, that's a terrible PL game. I'm gonna go with Ursa again. I would like to see Ursa, but I don't. They clearly showed that they prefer these hard farming carries instead. So I'm just not sure.
Team Nigma looking for a hard farmer here as well, T.
Potentially. Right now, this Ember pick, it does cause a little bit of confusion because they can easily play it on RTW. It's one of his most played heroes, or they can put it mid. So you kind of Smashers are seeing through that right now and just quite easy going, we'll ban out the best carries, because when you have heroes like Timber plus Ember, this map is going to feel so small, so quick. You know, Ember in your face, Timber running down lanes. I think Smashers are focused more on taking away the win conditions. The Spectre, the Medusa.
So who have we got in the pool for Ace? We've still got Wraith King, which he likes to play. We still have PA, which he likes to play. Still got that PL.
This is the thinking pose.
Hear me out. Hear me out. Ace Meepo, boys. Ace Meepo, come on, bring it back. It's time. It's ready. The hero is terrible, but my god, is it a decent game?
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not a Meepo specialist, so I'll trust the Meepo specialist. If you think it's a good game, we'll go for it.
I think if you go fast enough, right? Like, what do they really do? They only have one AoE stun to stop you. It's great. Great lockdown for Ember, Timber. You know, good magic burst against Terrorblade.
Actually, you can't redo that. Yeah. You know what? I was going to say something probably worse than the Meepo, and they go for a PL. Basically the same hero as Meepo, right? Lots of things appear on the map. Yeah. No, I'm not even going to try and connect the dots there. That's way too hard with Meepo.
Okay, you know what?
You did mention
I called the PL
earlier.
Yeah.
I don't like it, but I mean, it's the best hero against Terrorblade, so, and it's going to be able to help kill this egg. Seems good. I like it.
My only
some quick predictions from you. T, why don't you go first?
Well, I have a big fear where the PL might be good v Terrorblade, but Timber and Ember are like the known counters to this hero for just being able to overwhelm kill the illusions. So I'm going to probably side with Nigma, because I think just that alone might offset some of these earlier timings from the PL.
Sheep, how about you? What do you like here?
Ooh, I want to put the ball in Hellbear's court. You don't just let Gilga have Hoodwink.
Yeah. I was trying to curse it so that Smashers won.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
1 for 1.
Yes, no, sorry, Nigma. Nigma have it in the bag. Free.
Yes,
free.
Thank you. Yeah, cast a curse. Excellent. Good stuff.
That's tough, bro.
Well, there we go, and I'm going to offer my final salutations to the Sultans of Swing themselves. It's SUNSfan and SyndereN. Take us away.
We're sultans now. I like this. It's just getting more and more pristine as time goes on, SyndereN.
We came up with 3 different words with S for our S and S.
That's true. I just noticed that you are very... This is why you're the analyst, and I'm the dum-dum that just says what's on the screen. Okay?
I am also dum-dum. Let's not pretend.
Well, I think you're supposed to talk yourself up now that we've talked ourselves down.
I am very smart.
That's another story. Okay, Hellbear Smashers versus Team Nigma. 1-1 in a best of 3. Whoever wins this stays in the upper bracket. Whoever loses goes to the lower bracket. Again, saying the very obvious things for anybody that has looked at a bracket at any point in the last month, because it's the same format. It's for TI Quals, SyndereN. Are you excited?
I'm excited, and I think, honestly, Nigma fans, in my opinion, have a lot to be excited about in this game, because I think, in isolation, if you disregard what they're against, I really like how their lineup looks with itself. This is the kind of strategy that I really like in this patch. It's a high-tempo mid-hero. Nigma do this the best when they have Miracle and Invoker, but that's getting banned every game. But they put him on this Ember Spirit, so he can play fast. They have the Nyx as well. They set up their team fight really nicely with chains in this game. It's great for Sunray, it's great for Timbersaw, it's great for Terrorblade to kill heroes. So I'm very... I'm feeling more confident in Nigma in this game, and I think maybe, I don't know, I don't want to analyze too much based on the 2 games they played, but I feel like they might have figured something out based on how those last 2 games went. Even though the last one was a win, they're making some, in my opinion, great adjustments here. For Smashers, I don't know about Min Mirana, man. I'm not sure what to make of it. I barely ever see this hero played in that role, so we'll see if Borania can pull out some magic. Apart from that, their lineup looks solid. Again, Ace with the last pick PL, like the panel pointed out, probably a worse PL game than game number 1. Though.
ILTW, he's the one that chooses death at the beginning of the game. Dragon Tail, the first blood goes to Ace. That was a double smoke from each respective side, SyndereN. We talked about last game that we don't see it very often. We see it here. Neither team ran into each other initially, but the patience from Smashers, very nicely done.
It did pay off, but at the same time, look at Rasmus here. He actually has to TP to his lane now. This is what we talked about, right? When you fight that late on the runes, you are, you're susceptible to this happening. He's now TP top, so if they realize this, they can just swap lanes if they think it's good for them. They know now, okay, Dragon Knight is definitely top. He doesn't have TP. He has used his mana, so we could get that Timber matchup if we wanted to again. For now, they are electing to stay in their lanes, though. Mind control, good pressure on Tofu. Actually, skilling Icarus dive. Kuro, they were not expecting that.
Yeah, very unusual.
Nicely done.
Ends up netting them the kill, so nicely done.
It's so rare on Phoenix level 1 nowadays to see that.
So I know you found this Mirana mid weird. The panel was talking about how Borania is kind of known for this from time to time.
Yeah.
I need to understand that pick. I'm guessing part of it was the leap aspect to be able to kill Egg at some point.
Yeah,
That's got to be some part of it. They have Dragon Tail into Arrow. Like, I see the setup, but the hero mid is very weird. Can you... What are your theories about... Like, what do you think about this matchup to start things off? Ember versus Mirana.
That's probably the primary reason we don't see very much mid Mirana, right? Is that it just doesn't really have any very good matchups. The hero has relatively weak base stats. The attack animation is not great, so I think Miracle's just going to have a great time in this lane. I don't see Mirana, like, basically ever winning here. She can probably draw if she does well. And also, a lot of these range versus mid matchups, you know, historically ranged heroes do very well, but now that there's more water runes and everything, a lot of melee heroes are actually thriving, just getting those runes all the time. And Ember, he's going to be able to push the lane with Flame Guard, get water rune every time when he wants. He's going to grab one right now, as a matter of fact. And yeah, I don't know. I think Smashers were digging a little bit deep. They wanted to pick a Borania hero so that they could last pick the carry. So it was between either... What were his options there? It was Mirana or... There was one other hero he plays a lot that was still in the pool. Lina was still there. So he could have grabbed the Lina, but he would have picked it into Nyx, which is a really hard matchup. When they had it in game 1, Nyx was banned first phase.
Yeah. I mean, early on, yeah, Miracle is definitely favored right now. Has an 8 CS lead. But, I mean, at what point... Like, from Borneo, what are you looking for? You're just looking to survive the lane until you can get these combos off? Or you're looking for a rotation from... I mean, it's not like DK can come early, right? And the only other potential setup is the Bushwhack.
Yeah.
I feel like they have to get some sort of value out of this arrow setup in, like, close to the end of the laning stage.
For sure.
From the catch-up, at least.
I don't think you try to win mid by killing there. I think you focus on... using the Mirana to enable the team rather than the other way around. Rotating on mid is just too hard in this game, so don't bother. Let Mirana get levels, let Mirana get some farm, and hopefully for her she can find a connection on Dragon Tail in the top lane on a Terrorblade kill. Which is one thing Mirana is pretty good at, is killing Terrorblade early on. She has a lot of magic damage. Tofu will die. Kuro and Mind Control finding that. Mind Control the 0-2-2 build here. So
yeah, he is very tanky. Alright, what do you think of PL then? I mean, there's some options. They talked about Wraith King. I know that Juggernaut isn't picked, but it felt like an okay Juggernaut game, especially if you want to play at a very high pace. Good egg killer, good for high pace, and I think it's actually not that bad against TB these days because of the shard.
It's good against Terrorblade late game. Yeah.
Yeah. But they picked PL.
Yeah.
They did win game 1, so...
They did. Like we said, it's probably a worse game for the hero, but, you know, you look at your pool, you look at your player, and you ask. And you're like, okay, what do you want to play here? What do you think is best? And I'm with you. I think Jugger could have also been good, but I can't say with confidence that it would have been a better choice. The good thing about Jugger here is Healing Ward is very good in this game against something like Timbersaw and Phoenix, but... and the Juggernaut eventually... This is very counterintuitive, I think, to a lot of people. In my opinion, Juggernaut is actually one of the best late-game carries against Terrorblade. But the reason we're so hardwired to think of Terrorblade as a Jug counter is that you go back a year and people were counterpicking Jug with Terrorblade and just running him over in the mid game. But with the new, like with shards, with new talents, with new items, the balance has just shifted a bit. Where I think Jugger can actually, we saw that at the major in a game even. Yeah. There was a Juggernaut late game that just bodied Terrorblade when it got late enough. So, but yeah, we have the PL here.
GH top lane. Yeah, I didn't think they would have enough damage, but with the 2 levels of Bushwhack and Acorn Shot was just enough.
Yep.
We're seeing the 1 level of Breathe Fire right now.
LTW here. Good pressure.
Ooh, all right.
He's actually in trouble possibly here. Oh, good bounce back on that. That's
not quite there, but the one more right click will do it, and the vision from Rasmus ensures that they get that kill. So 2 kills here in the top lane for Smashers. That is very, very good news.
And that was basically a 50-50. That Acorn shot had to bounce back to Terrorblade not on the creep to get the kill, and Gilgir rolls a natural 6. Wait, that's not a good roll, is it? He rolls a 6.
I don't know anything about D&D. I'm sorry, everybody.
I know
out
something
there.
about
Really
regular
apologize.
dice. 6 is good in most cases.
Yes, I think so. The 1 is bad. That's the snake eyes.
Tofu forced to TP out bottom.
Yeah, they're just continuing to just spam out the ILTW in terms of the magic damage, which is what you have to do at this stage of the game. But back to mid lane. I mean, look at the CS. I don't know how much of this is actually jungle creeps, but Bornea, it's only 6 CS behind.
Oh, he's keeping up.
This is, yeah, that's
But he's
pretty
500 net
respectable.
worth behind, though. So
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's pretty significant, actually. But at the very least, he's not out-leveled horribly. I mean, I was expecting this to be just absolutely awful. So, if you're a Smashers fan, you gotta be happy with that. Bushwhack onto the illusion and the tree as well. Top lane, you're seeing this
Got him
damage
again.
come through.
Or, yes.
Cold Feet actually procs as well. Now the TP's come in, so it might cost Rasmus his life, but he'll take this any day of the week. In fact, it takes Miracle TP as well. You get the Bushwhack, but it's not really going to prevent anything. So it's a 1-for-1. But this leaves Mind Control in the bot lane just to fend for himself here, and he has pushed Ace completely out of lane.
yeah, PL is not coming back down here. It's unplayable. So, if anyone goes to sit bottom, it's Hoodwink. Right, giving the tip to Mind Control here. Good job, buddy. You picked Timbersaw, I guess. He's a little salty. It's a
Yeah,
pretty
I can
random
see-
tip. There's just a Timbersaw pushing a tower. This is pretty standard Dota, you know? Nothing crazy here.
I have hung around Misery enough to know. I mean, I don't know how much he's changed over the years, but he would be complaining about somebody picking Timbersaw. So, unless it's us with Moo picking Timbersaw
Yeah, then it's
at
great.
TI every game, you know, then that's fine. But otherwise, not so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, the tier 1 tower is able to be taken out by Team Nigma, and on the other side, Smashers applying some pressures at half HP right now. Rasmus not quite level 6, but still has done a significant amount of damage to this tower. He's getting another Dragon Tail off. He's just spamming this in left,
He
right, and
is
center.
actually dead for this, I think.
Yeah, that's TP support. Oh, Bushwhack onto 2 again. GH gets the Impale off in the meantime, though. Kuroki, level 4, gets off the Fairy Fires. Rasmus just running around in circles. But with the rotation of Mind Control, you have to think that it's inevitable death here for Rasmus. We'll wonder if a TP comes out. That's the real question, Cinder. Who TP's whom here? Rasmus dies to the hands of Kuroki, as usual. And no tips at all, so really disappointed.
He is forcing some movement, at least with this, but it did feel a little bit overzealous to try to go for that stun under the tower in that situation. Enigma very quick with the punish, but with obviously Mind Control rotating up there, this now gives Ace a little bit more space to work with down here, because now he has access to the creep waves. He's going to farm wave plus hard camp every minute. Probably even get the small camp as well as another kill.
And near that triangle there, another Bushwhack though, into the arrow this time. Looks like GH can take the brunt of the damage there, but it's not a whole lot of damage to speak of, as Nyx is going to take a tumble, so it's a 1-for-1 across the lanes here. Now Rasmus, I mean, he has a 3-level deficit if you compare the off lanes here, Cinder. That is pretty gigantic. I mean, can't be too surprised, I guess, although at this stage, Misery maybe a little lower than you would hope for sure, at this stage of the game. Have Dragon Tail now, though.
Yeah, I guess it's also a bit expected, right? If you consider how early Mind Control is left alone, he will get a bigger experience. Like, he just has more experience to draw from than Rasmus, so it's not like he just destroyed the lane way harder than him. But I think at this point you would ideally like to be level 7 as DK. So he's definitely slowed down a bit. But he gets that 6, they have the Dragon Tail. Obviously this makes for a very easy arrow setup like we've talked about now with the range setup from DK. Mind Control is killable for them. He doesn't have anything for his hood just yet, so Mirana and Dragon Knight actually pack quite the punch, especially if Ice Blast comes in with the Tome in at 10. Need to give Topher a little bit of space for that to be the case, though. He's only level 4 and a third, which is very low. Not even bridging the gap to 6 with that Tome. But they're going to try to kill regardless.
He's going to get Bushwhacked here, and the arrow to follow, and all the extra damage thanks to the Ice Vortex. More than enough.
This makes it very easy.
Kill. Now Rasmus might be able to just solo this tower if there's no TP support on the way.
Denying the rune is Gilgir.
Nope. Gets the Bushwhack off again. I don't know if he's missed a Bushwhack in all 3 games. He's played the same hero, so he's got the practice for sure. I'm impressed though. I'm really impressed with his play on this hero. because we saw a lot of games in the major, and it was just, you know, it was a hit or a miss, but a lot of underwhelming games. I feel like consistently throughout these 3 games, he has been on point.
He's been good, for sure. I definitely see why they value it this much when he's playing it like this. And I think, overall... Oh, good arrow. Can't connect anything on that, though.
My control just...
Nigma trying to take advantage of their Siege Creep plus Timber Saw. Very classic thing to do when you have Timber. Alright, there's the Bushwhack miss, Shannon. You got it.
Yep. Caster Curse, thank you very much. Wait, did he get the item? That's the real question. Will he be 3 for 3?
Not yet.
How many do they have left? Is the
They're not getting it. Oh, that's a problem.
No. Can they win without is the real question. Bornea getting bursted, but will leap to safety. Mind Control creating as much space as possible with GH's help to get the Impel on Gilgurt. And it doesn't look like Chakram does connect.
Mind Control's now a bit compromised
Ace
here.
is here. AA Blast to follow, so the Sunray's going to do absolutely nothing. That is the 2nd death from Mind Control after he got off to such a good start. So huge kills.
You're just
here
not
for
safe on
Smashers.
Timber in this game. There's a couple of things that are really nasty. You're playing into Ice Blast, and you're playing into Hoodwink's Ultimate Burst. Timber Saw generally considered a counter to Hoodwink because it cuts all the trees, so it's hard to hit Bushwhack, but when it comes to it, if you have other ways of setting up the stun, then you're not so reliant on the trees, right? They're going to just Dragon Tail, then they're going to Arrow, and then they're going to Hoodwink ult. They won't even need the Bushwhack if the other guy set him up. And Mind Control really needs to... He you know, I don't... It makes sense he thinks he's that tanky. He just isn't. Because usually Timber at this point, with a hood and a wand, feels very tanky. But he dies in a Dragon Tail when these heroes are there, and you just... No save available. Phoenix Heal doesn't matter. It's also only level 1, actually. Koro with the Max Fire Spirits build. A lot of the time we see 1-2-4, but he's 1-4-1. Perhaps partly because of the AA matchup. It's just prioritizing the damage.
Miracle's working on a Maelstrom for himself. Not a huge surprise considering he's going against a PL this game. And obviously it's going to help his farm quite a bit. Now the real question is, what is Bornea going to go for? He's going for Dragonlance right now, so he has to expend 2 leaps already. AA Blast comes out, but Tofu is going to take a tumble.
Arrow?
Arrow connected as well, but he's
I keep getting excited
surrounded.
over arrows. There's just no one there. So
Yeah. Well, they don't really... I mean, without the AA Blast, in addition to a couple of heroes, they're not going to really be able to burst anybody down. But do you have any clue what the build is for Mirana? This looks like a right-click build.
yeah, I think he's gonna go Dragonlance Maelstrom, probably.
Oh, Impale.
Okay,
Ace, he does have Doppelganger onto the other side of the cliff. Miracle gets the ensnare off, but not a whole lot of follow-up, so he'll get the one.
Keep in mind, he's top net worth, actually, on the PL. After that start bot, Ace has been doing a really good job at finding farm. Gilger's dead. Easy pick for Miracle.
Yeah, Ace also did a good job of finding the Possessed Mask in the jungle. That'll help his... I mean, he, like you said, he had to get into the jungle at level 5, right? So not exactly the best jungle hero, for sure. That stage. Bornea. Alright, now he knows that Spike Carapace is on cooldown. Not able to get the arrow off. Again, no real connection. And his farm is... okay,
BKB.
but not compared to Miracle. Miracle's doing quite well.
So I suppose Mirana has a pretty big power spike on level 15 as a core with right clicks because you get 75 attack speed from Leap, from the talent, and you get 15 damage on 10. Just instinctively looking at this item build, Dragonlance into BKB, I feel like this hero does not do that much damage, but I'm ready to be surprised. Like I said, not very popular right now. And that could also catch Nigma off guard, you know? That's something that they're not very familiar with playing against in this current patch. So there's a little bit of an X factor there.
Yeah, he has the shard queued up as well, so that gives him an extra leap, and it gives him a critical strike, a 1.5 critical strike during, I don't know how, I guess it's during the whole duration of the leap buff itself. Is Mirana gets initiated on, but he is he's good to go. How long is the buff, actually? Say in the
2.5 seconds.
Oh, there it is. Yeah. Wow. So 2.5 seconds, and you get 4 leaps, and you get a 1.5 crit.
Yeah, and it's a guaranteed crit, right?
Yeah.
Every attack.
That's the way that I read it. Is that
that's pretty decent, actually. Yeah, that's not bad. Oh, ILTW. He is out. Yep. Good time to CP.
Perfectly fine. No need to get excited, SyndereN. Good effort. 2K net worth lead here, though, for Team Nigma. But you're right. The BKB right out of the gates, basically, after Dragonlance, is quite interesting. As Ace is getting initiated in the triangle again. TPs are coming in though. Ace got dusted, it looks like, but there's initiation from Rasmus this time. 3 heroes grouped up here on the side of Team Nigma as the egg is popped. Can they kill it? There's the leap in with the right click from Mirana. That is more than enough, but it might cost him his life. He's going to turn this around with the Ice Blast, just hit everybody. Miracle now on the run. He's going to be shattering here pretty soon. A 3-for-1. It just costs Rasmus his life. He'll take that any day. Ooh, I didn't know that interaction worked that way. The Bushwhack Timber Chain? Did you see that?
Yeah, it apparently works like that.
That is very weird. Is that not a stun, technically?
It's kind of like Yules, where if you Yule after throwing Timber Chain, you break the Yule, and you also break offensive Yules. I don't know why it works like that with Bushwhack, because technically he's stunned to a tree, but I guess just that minimum bit of movement he does when stunned in the chain separates him from the tree, and when you're not bound to the tree as Hoodwink, it obviously stops the stun, so... Huh. I don't know, it's a bit weird to me, but...
That one feels
we're just gonna have
like...
to accept this and move on.
Yeah, I remember that cartoon. That was good stuff. The Dota Reporter. That does feel like a bug, though. I know there's a couple interactions with Hoodwink who were like, they could just keep that as a feature, probably. So we're going to see Team Nigma pursuing the Smashers jungle. Ace is going to spot this out, though. Ward. Yeah, they see Miracle. They're going to play their pressure them to start with, but GH gets out the mana bar. Yeah, the A Blast comes in, connecting onto 2. But you can see that Ace is taking the brunt of this damage along with Rasmus on that Whirling Death. But... the PL is dead just like that, in addition to the AA. It's going to be the cleanup on the Phoenix, though. So 3-for-1, actually. My goodness, Rasmus. I thought he got out of there, but in control.
Great Sunray from Kuro. That was really impactful. I think he had it on 2 enemies and 2 allies the whole time. Just in that choke point, Phoenix very, very good with that Sunray. And they're going to reap their reward with a tier 2 tower. ILTW just untouched. Getting the job done. So Mirana had a double damage in that fight, and she did a lot of damage with that. So she can definitely deal damage when she has a rune doing it.
Bushwhack into the arrow. Mr. Miracle is dead. A Blast connecting on LTW, but the sharpshooter will not end up hitting him this time around. Pretty big kill, though, after a really bad fight for Smashers. Rasmus is going to pop that Dragon Form. Might find Kuroki here. They get the nice stun. Yeah, great layering from Smashers again. And this will be turning into a tier 1 tower to boot.
Yeah, so I was going to say a little bit earlier that it's problematic for Smashers how far behind Rasmus is falling in this game. He has 6k net worth, and the reason that's an issue is they rely a lot on him to set up and ideally get multiple stuns in the fight, but it feels without a BKB, if he jumps in and stuns afterwards, he's going to die to Sunray, he's going to die to Timbersaw, and oh boy, that's a Hoodwink. That was there a moment ago.
From 100 to 0. Goodness gracious.
Did you hear my dog barking?
I sure didn't. My boy Onion at it again.
You didn't?
Huh? No.
Oh, how nice.
Oh, Onion, hi for me. Appreciate his presence.
Well, bit busy right now, so can't say hi to the dog.
Okay, that's too bad. Well, maybe you can get him to cast with you next game instead of me. That'd be great.
But yeah, Rasmus sees GH. There we go.
Yeah, they're going to get the Dragon Tail into the Ice Blast. Easy peasy, like you said. Miracle does have a Remnant out, so... like he'll be fine unless they can get a crazy initiation somehow. But it looks like it... again, I haven't seen this Mirana firsthand, but it does feel like this timing of BKB into Shard is kind of the go time. And we'll see how powerful
great so far. He's 5-0-6. He has decent farm. My primary concern is his ability to win late game against Terrorblade and Timbersaw, but if he can keep up this pace, he might just get there. Very, very excited to see how this pans out, especially the 15 talent, how much that matters. So yeah, good stuff. BKB is complete and 200 gold for Borania. And how we're looking for Rasmus. So he's far away from his. 3k to go for his BKB, and it's just so important. We've seen a couple of fights this game. He blink stuns, and then the punish from Phoenix Timber is just instant. He can get caught in the next stun as well. So has to be very careful with how he approaches fights.
Top tower is under attack.
Mind Control actually picking up a Heaven's Halberd. You don't get to see that every day. Obviously really good against Mirana if you can get in range, and Doppelganger does not dispel it, so a good way to tell which the real PL is, I guess. And Evasion is always nice. In fact, they don't really have any heroes. I mean, there's a Butterfly being built by LTW as well. don't really want to buy MKB on anybody. Like maybe Mirana, like much later in the game. Because like she relies on.
I think Mirana doesn't mind buying MKB too much because she has so good attack speed, right? She get a lot of procs.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying like it's one hero though. You know, PL's still that hero. Dragon Knight's not gonna get anything like that. He's just a setup stun essentially at this stage. Yeah, I think I definitely agree with you. I am really excited to see if this Mirana works. I am kind of rooting for it just because it's not a hero we get to see so often. At all, in fact. And if we do, it's a support, right?
Yeah.
Oh, Gilgar getting spotted out.
Gilgar. Gilgar is really high level. He's level 13. GH is level 9. Super high level on this Hoodwink in this game.
Ooh, Courier.
Looking to get involved.
Dead.
Dust.
Very dead Courier. Bushwhack onto 2, but the Spike Carapace ends up stunning him in turn. Arrow doesn't look like he connects there as the break is now to GH. Rasmus trying to do as much damage as he can from the sideline. That's a buyback onto the Hoodwink though. Borania not able to leap to the high ground to finish off the Nyx Assassin. Just going to get beat down by these illusions in the meantime. I believe the Smashers need to just reset here. Ace from afar has the shard now. Those illusions are going to be much more annoying with that Spirit Lance. Just getting chased. Another great Bushwhack stun, but Ace is just going to get bursted down in the end. Didn't have another Doppelganger to work with. Egg is on the high ground, but I think they're too far away as Rasmus just getting right-clicked from afar. And Borania, no leap to speak of. If they can find this kill, this will be enormous. That'll be it. So it's a 2-for-1 and only consummate support. Now they can beat onto this tier 2.
They got the Nyx with, I think, the final tick of Ice Blast, so it must have been very close to the end, so they do get that, but really, really good 4-step from Kuro in this game. Cool item choice as well. Like, it's a way of solving the Bushwhack problem. You don't see this item bought first on Phoenix very often, but he gets this ability to disconnect the combos that Hellbear Smashers are trying to do with Hoodwink stun into Arrow, Dragon Tail into Arrow, and Ice Blast. So basically that one 4-step last fight, I think it made the Arrow miss and the Ice Blast miss on the Terrorblade that they were trying to kill. So good foresight. I really like the choice this game of buying that in the Phoenix.
And from Borania's side, he is still a bit away from finishing the shard, as we have yet to even see a Roche attempt here. Later than we would normally see, but neither team crazy Roche takers by any stretch of the imagination. LTW just going for the basic crit build. We've been seeing that basically every game from TB, one way or another. Although I feel like we see Scotty ahead of that most of the time. But not the case this time around. Doesn't it feel like a Scotty?
Ahead of the Daedalus and Terrorblade, you mean?
Yeah. Isn't it Scotty into Daedalus?
Yeah. It usually is Scotty. Like, I think the most common build is probably Manta into Scotty, and then you either get Satanic or Butter, and then you get Daedalus. But I've seen some Terrorblades lately prioritize getting that high damage burst earlier in the build to really ride the momentum of how strong Metamorphosis is. I'm not completely sold. Like, he's putting a lot of faith into Kuro to always get the 4-staff, because he gets 100 to 0'd here if he gets caught by a combo, right? With this build. You don't have the safety of the health from the Scotty or the Satanic when you go like this. So let's say he gets Dragon Tail, Arrow, Ice Blast, he's just done. So they really have to have Kuro in a good position around the Terrorblade. But so far, it worked well last fight, so maybe his call is, you know what, I trust you, we got this. Just keep protecting me with the Phoenix and I'll be fine. Personally, I kind of don't like it. I would rather see the Scotty, because I think damage is not the problem for Nigma right now, and it's more of a safety thing, getting Scotty here. If he gets Sunder off, I think they win the fight, right? So he just needs to survive, and if he starts fighting someone with Scotty, I still think they have enough damage with him, Timber, as well as Ember. There's plenty of damage coming out of the Nigma heroes.
Yeah, I mean, we saw a lot of this AA versus TB matchup, and it works both ways, right? Because Sunder, obviously a good counter to the Ice Blast, since it does work. But at the same time, the burst damage, the whole idea of AA, it's not just about the healing reduction, but just using that in combo with something to burst them down from 100 to 0, which TB, that's his biggest fear, right? That's why Zeus is such a good hero against TB, although we don't really see... We actually did see one game at the Major, I believe, Zeus versus TB, or is that ESL? Either way, it worked out really well. It was
at the Major. Worked
out really well and destroyed TB, but I agree. I'm a little surprised he's not going for more stats-based. But we'll see how it works. We'll see.
Bornea is 500 away from that shard. I'm mainly curious to see what he queues up after it. I think it's going to be MKB, actually.
Yeah, I think it has to.
So he can deal with Terrorblade better.
Oh, they're going to 5-man smoke into the Moonlight Shadow, the classic combo. And we'll see if they can find anybody on top of this. Of course, they're looking for the Dragon Tail initiation into Arrow or the Bushwhack. A little bit separated right now. And Rasmus, yeah, they can't figure out which way they want to go. Bushwhack onto the... Yeah, they have to show themselves now.
Good read from Nigma. They know exactly what's happening.
Rasmus popped the...
They did actually Moonlight and smoke under that ward, right? The top ward, I think.
Oh, Chakram on top of him. Rasmus, of course, like you said, does not have the BKB, so he might just get bursted down. That is a super easy kill, and just like they don't have your offlaner, but does have buyback available. Of course, without Dragon Form, though, how much use are you? You can see the Sharpshooter used by Gilgar to try to get a little extra space again. Looks like it might be successful. Ooh, Sleight of Fist was there. The chains? No, not going to happen. So they only get one, but it might cost, be at the cost of Roche here.
Okay. Big prize is Big Boy, and Big Boy's dying very fast.
Big, juicy boy.
That's one thing about having this Chrysalis and Terrorblade. When you just get to AFK attack Roche, that obviously makes it a lot easier and faster. Yeah, good read from Nigma. I think the top ward that they have placed that's about to expire now did give them the vision that the smoke plus Moonlight was coming, and they just counterplayed it.
BKB has to be popped by Bornea. The egg is there to try to save.
Speed.
Yeah, he's getting quite a bit of it. It's going to be enough with that 15 talent. They're going to get 2 kills on top of it. And now Tofu getting bursted down by Mind Control. Sharpshooter connects, but really to not much avail. Arrow connects as well, but not a whole lot of follow-up to speak of. Although Rasmus is here with the Dragon Tail. Ace grouping up, but now the Chakram destroying Rasmus from 100 to 0. We talk about that all the time. Such a good counter to the Dragon Knight. And just like that, it's a 2 for 2 on the steps of the enemy base. Bushwhack, ooh, looks like it was going to connect there, but I think that was the Whirling Death preventing the trees from stunning them.
I think so too. Yeah, alright. Hellbear smashes, they do trade there, but again, Dragon Knight is just being punished so hard. And a big problem that Smashers have in this game, I feel like you're really seeing the night and day between Game 1 and Game 3 here for how Phantom Lancer's game is. He's been relatively quiet. We're 26 minutes in. Ace he's 1, 2, and 4. Haven't really seen him do very much damage on his PL, because he can't go in. And that's where it matters so much that there's other people in the fight that set something up, stay alive, and PL gets to wrap around and find a Phoenix or a Nyx or something that he just gets that free kill and then snowballs from. Because his targets aren't great. Like, you don't want to go on Timbersaw, you're not going to kill that guy. Ember is too mobile and hard to catch. And the Terrorblade had Aegis, so in that fight, you're really, like, pick your poison, you know?
And we got the Moonlight Shadow coming out. And they're
it's gonna get away, no detection.
Look at Rasmus's neutral item, by the way. He has a Philosopher's Stone. That's how bad his game is right now. Just needs the gold for BKB. Absolutely.
Nice juke escape from Gilgar here. Very good use of the Sharpshooter to get to the low grounds. He's still dead. They found him.
Yeah. I think he's only oh, all right. Scurry up in 2 seconds. He's finally found. He's only a level 14 in terms of Dota Plus. I'm a little surprised by that. Although I guess the hero hasn't been out that much. But there are some level 30s already for her.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
But he's played so well. Probably spams the crap out of this thing. His ILTW on the steps of the enemy base now. The meta is popped. Hoodwink is dead for 50 seconds. Absolutely no buyback. And everything online for Team Nigma. Rasmus still not able to have the BKB coming out yet. ILTW. Oh, he gets arrowed. Better be careful here. Ice Splash to follow. He has to sunder a teammate. He does so onto Kuroki. The Ice Blast ends up being wasted for the most part. Bornea has to go back to base now. Haven't really seen the leap into the crit strike yet. As oh boy, they get the stun off on the Phantom. Ace is bursted.
So good from GH. That Spirit Lance was not targeting Nyx, but the bounce from the shard went on GH, and he carapaced and then got a max range stun.
Yeah, that's rough.
Huge punish onto Ace, and this is a really big problem, because they're probably going to be forced to buy back the PL here.
Yeah.
I don't think Nigma has to go back. ILTW with Aegis could still go hit.
Yeah, he still has arrow, but you can tell they just don't want to go on mind control now.
They get it. Now they might just back off. They don't have to necessarily.
Aegis still in ILTW. Still in melee form, obviously. Meta's not available for another 90 seconds, and looks like they're trying to disengage. A blast with the Dragon Tail setup into the leap. Here are the crits, SyndereN! The crit! It's not that much. It's not really not that much right now. Yeah, he needs
Good
another
participation award there. Gets the You Tried medal for the right clicks for 200 damage, of which 70% gets blocked by Timber.
item. Yeah, that's pretty sad.
Yeah.
But
He's
once
so
he
tanky.
gets
He has Hellbear
MKB,
heart.
MKB is when it starts to take off.
Yep. Then you still need to claw through a Timber with what's it called? Hellbear heart.
Yeah, you ignore him. That was definitely not the play.
Yeah. This is looking really good for Nigma. I feel like they came in a little bit cold in game 1, and then in game 2, still not super convinced with how they played and what they strategized, but this game, it just feels cleaner. Like, there's more control of the map, there's a more clear game plan, there's more structured team fights. And I really think so much of that comes from the fact that they have this secondary way of catching and poking and prodding with the Ember. That's not to say TA obviously stomped in game 2. Like, Miracle has played great today, but yeah, just from a unity perspective of how their heroes play, the flow of the game just feels natural with how they move around. So really liking their progression in the series.
Within reach of the tier 3 tower mid, they get it pretty much right off the bat. Here's the Dragon Tail AA combo, connects onto
Great
only
Ice
one
Blast.
essentially though. ILTW walks it off for now. They're gonna find the Hoodwick in the backside. Does have buyback. GH has the Aghanim Scepter. Talked about how he's getting heavily out-leveled, but he finds the farm. Obviously his team helped out here quite a bit. And he's just gonna get into burrow form right next to the barracks. Bushwhack again, the setup, but no A blast to follow. But there's the Sunray with the egg on the back line, healing up GH to a high degree. So much damage mitigation. Rasmus melts. And this is going to be a second set of racks for Team Nigma. And they still have Aegis. No, they don't. They do not have Aegis.
Ice
Attention.
Blast might come in here.
Yeah, but they look
That's what
pretty
they were
okay.
lacking there, the smashes on that go. It was actually a little combo. Gilger got a 3-man stun with the Bushwhack, and then they connected Spirit Lance and some damage out of Bornea, but they didn't have the blast, so they got healed up by Sunray. They're again dodging away from Miracle. Gonna get healed up by Sunray once again.
It feels like without AA Blast, there's just no hope for
They don't have enough
a team
damage
fight.
to get through that heal. So they either need to find the Phoenix with PL, so that Phoenix can't stand the backlines and heal, or they have to Ice Blast combo. It really is the name of the game here.
Can you talk to me about this? So, again, we had this discussion at the Major, but Ace, he went Aether Lens with the Shard, which is kind of like, you end up turning into an Octarine at some point, and it felt like a meme when it first came out, but it was pretty effective. Why choose it this game and not the previous one? Is there... I might have to hold on to these thoughts here, but I'm interested to know, like, why this game?
I think
It wasn't
his
apparently good
mindset here
before.
is he's having a harder time going in, so he's kind of a land spot. And with this item, you get the cast range and you get the mono region and mono pool, so you can keep throwing out lances. Like, let's say he was building up toward a Scotty instead. The Scotty has almost no value because he can't use it in the fight. He can't go in. So I guess that's how he's thinking. This is how I do the most damage in the game, and I'm kind of with him on it. It's just, it really makes you question, was this a good pick to begin with, right?
Well, the FPS has gone down the tubes. That means meta has been popped, SyndereN.
Yep.
Oh, that wasn't meta. What caused my What was that?
But
But that was a reflection then. A reflection on multiple heroes. Okay.
you have found a Nemesis match.
That's not true. Nobody does that. Nobody's playing that. That's actually
I
impossible.
actually like Nemesis.
Yeah.
I do. I think it's fun. Oh,
Oh,
here we go.
BKB.
Could be a
Big
great
A
Ice Blast.
blast onto 3. They blow up ILTW. No buyback for him. GH stuck inside his burrow. A big potential fight here if they can get more out of this. Dragon Tail is going to connect, but Miracle's created a lot of space between him and Hellbear Smashers. Mind control out of mana completely, so it looks like they'll be able to clean him up at the very least. So a nice mini comeback here from Hellbear Smashers. But what can they turn this into?
It took them 20 seconds, 5v1, to kill him, it felt like. But they got him.
Rough
He was
stuff.
out of mana.
Yeah.
Alright,
A little
good
rough on the
hold.
Roshan time.
There are two lanes of barracks down, but that was a really good Ice Blast catch onto the Terrorblade. I'm not sure if Kuro wasn't able to force stuff him. I think he was stunned facing forward, so then obviously no way to get him out of trouble. And they pile on him, and that's a lot of gold going the way of especially Tofu and Bornea. Bornea is almost done with his MKB off of that.
Prize is mine.
Could be a turning point, but there's still so much to cover from them. They're really far behind. The next Roche would be big. He's spawning in 10 seconds, but no one is checking it. Tofu is kind of heading over.
Yeah, so
Can
they'll have
be
about 20
annoyed by
seconds
GH.
to take it before Timber's up, but
They can't.
they don't have a... I mean, I guess Mirana is starting to turn into a bit of a Roche killer. PL's... It's not the worst, but they wouldn't take it fast enough is what I'm trying to say, so Timber would be up anyway. So 11k net worth lead now for Team Nigma, and they are definitely in the driver's seat. 2 racks advantage, and will likely look for a pick into Roche, as GH has scouted out that Roche has indeed spawned. That is with the Aegis, Cheese, and Shard. So if they can find... They might just run into Roche and force this fight, actually. Yep, that's exactly what's going to happen. Meta's popped. Rasmus on the outskirts. Jumps in with the Dragon form.
last man's
the
a
Dragon
dodge.
Tail. Oh my god, Rasmus melts. Holy Jesus.
He
That
was
is the-
not ready to get stunned by Nyx there. He didn't BKB.
Yeah, that was rough stuff. He buys back, but like we talked about, useless human form activated, and Nigma know that. And there's creeps in the base right now, so they have to be pretty careful here. And Miracle's going to jump in. He gets Dragon Tail, though. He's going to get bushwhacked into death. All right, 70 seconds on the deck. ILTW pops the BKB with that huge meta form. Still could go for Roche technically, but it's a 4v5 now. Or 4.5 versus 5. He's talking about the Dragon Knight. And control. Oh, he's going to get cold feet. Does proc it. And you can see the mana just getting burned slowly but surely by Ace and these illusions. But GH,
That Ember
it
kill
looks
did
like they're
defend
actually
Roche,
going to
though.
defend this. Wow. Very nicely done. I was not expecting that. I mean, again, the creeps have beat down on this tier 4 tower. It's already at half HP
They
for
have
one of
plenty
them.
of buffer. There's 1.5 towers left. They should definitely stay at Roche at all costs. Even AA, who could be tempted to go back and defend and then throw an Ice Blast, they need literally everything here. They need that magic damage increase from Vortex.
This is so hard, though, with GH in his Burrow form. God, what an annoying hero to play against. Gets off the Spike Carapace, but it's not really going to do much. Impale onto 1 with Chakram to follow. This is so hard to take, especially when you don't really do that much damage right now.
And they can't
Yeah.
confidently go on the heroes because they don't know if
Now they're
Miracle has
base.
buyback.
Now they're base.
Is it? Yeah. I think valiant
Yikes.
effort from Hellbear's here to try to get the Roche, but in the end, not enough.
Yep. Perhaps trying to snag a little something, but ILTW ends up getting the Aegis, and the kill onto Hoodwink is very easy in the end. It's Ace. Is Moonlight Shadowed. Should be okay. He'll does not have gem or anything, so he'll be happy with that exchange for sure. As the Shard was picked up. I mean, I think they already had the Sunray, right? I thought they had the Sunray. I think it's Ember Spirit. Miracle picked it up. So it's Fire Remnants.
Oh,
are
he
a little
didn't
bit
BKB
juicier
Rasmus
as-
again.
Yeah, Rasmus dead.
It's just
70 seconds on the deck.
Dacius.
7-second BKB is still available to use, but I mean, this is what happens when you're playing against GH in this
Good arrow.
Nyx Assassin. Okay, beautifully done. That is the Aegis. And Borania pops a BKB. You can see the crits coming out. He still has 2 leaps to go. Uses 1 to retreat, though. This is going to be a tier 3 tower at the very least. And you can see GH is continuing to heal in the midst of all this. He's getting surrounded by his teammates as basically a shield, but Hellbear Smashers are starting to drop like flies as the building damage is just going to be too much. It's going to be Mega Creeps at the very least. Ace Ace. Back. Not mean to rhyme that. GH gets the Impale, connects onto 1, and this is going to be its turn. So this ends up being 2-1 for Team Nigma. I have to say, I mean, this game was a little bit more stompy, but Smashers in game 2, they had an opportunity to take that game. Even though
They
Miracle
definitely
was owning on TA, they had their opportunity, but just slipped through their fingers. So down to the lower bracket they go.
Yeah, and like T Governor pointed out in the panel, this seems to happen a lot to Smashers, that they win game 1 and then don't close it out. And that is the case again today. So need to find that way of converting that first game victory into, you know, not letting the opponent learn enough from their mistake in game 1 and adapt. And I just think in this last game, really liked where Nigma went with this. Liked the draft, liked the way they put their lanes, the way they played around each other. I think Ember Spirit looked great in this game. And yeah, they got it done. Well played.
All right, thanks, SyndereN. It was great to hang out with you again. We'll see you. We'll see you
Yes.
next time, buddy. But with that, let's go to a quick break, and I don't know why. Just stop laughing at everything. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm just talking like a human being. Let's go to a quick break, and then the panel or somebody will talk at some point. So have fun.
See ya, buddy.
Well, welcome back as Team Nigma will hand Hellbear Smashers and Denmark their first loss of the day. I'm joined by T Governor and Sheepsticks, going to help me break down this game. Sheepo, why don't you tell me a little bit about what went so right for Team Nigma there?
Well, they had a great bot lane with Timbersaw. First of all, that lane went exactly as you'd expect it. Hellbear's lane was way too weak to deal with it. They had the Timbersaw like level 4 just constantly chaining over this PL until he couldn't lane. They had to abandon it. He got the tower really fast, and that meant that when this top lane that had gone really well for Hellbear Smashers, they started pressuring the tower. It just meant Timber was able to just TP up there, rotate, punish a dive by the DK, kill him, and like everything just kind of kept rolling on from there. I think just a great start for them.
T Governor, talk to me a little bit about Hellbear Smashers. What could have they done to turn that game into a more convincing one? Because we can look at Baron Ninja there. He was 7-0. That was a pretty good performance from him. Could it just been more of that?
Yeah, it's looking pretty good. But I think, they mentioned it during the cards. It's the idea that this PL from game 1 to game 3, like how did he really get into the game? Game 1, he was part of these fights. They had a bit more conviction. But in this third game, like he's playing into this Ember, he's playing into this Timbersaw. He wasn't able to kind of cleanly lock on to this Terrorblade and have that like kind of good matchup that we get to see so often, where it's like the PL, the TB can't really get the right one. He overwhelms him, he can kill him off. Like that wasn't happening this game. And we also saw how quickly Rasmus, he kind of went from an offlane DK to more of a supporting cast where he had a blink dagger, he had like 6k net worth going into like the later portion of the game. Like he was struggling quite a lot. And that alone, every time he initiated, he'd hit a stun, but then he'd be 100-0 gone. And I think that lack of kind of just substance from the DK, from the PL, it doesn't matter if your Mirana is 7-0 because she's a hero that kind of plays on the fringe. And when your front line's dying so quickly, Nigma's just, walking over you, running over you.
Sheep, did you see bright signs for Hellbear Smashers for the lower bracket there? Because this is a good Nigma team. Do you think they're going to do well going forwards, or are there concerns for you?
In the lower bracket run, they definitely sounded a decent chance going through it. They've taken games off OG, Tundra. I know they got 0-2'd by Nigma before, so that kind of was hard for them in the first place. But they are a team with good potential. I mean, there's a lot of good teams in this bracket. Other teams, potentially OG, potentially Liquid, are going to get dropped down there too, and they're going to have to play against them. But if they can just break this curse of winning a game and then losing the series, if they could just take it one more game, they could do good things.
We are going to be joined very close. We're going to be joined very soon, I believe, by Kuroki, who is going to talk us through that game. Very exciting to be joined by a legend of Dota. He needs a couple of minutes to get his camera. So while he's doing that, searching around in various drawers in his mansion, I imagine. Tegan, talk to me a little bit about what we saw from Team Nigma there as a kind of a team, as a cohesive unit. Do we think this is the same Team Nigma who roll through tournaments in that kind of singular style, or do you think we saw enough from them to show a difference of ways of playing?
I think the main thing is they are aligning themselves to this style of play, which is, Miracle's going to be up in your face and winning. And I think the key thing that Nigma has at least shown in this series is that they are able to push RTW to win condition or miracle, which is going back to DPC, goes to anime, it's very classic style. But that kind of threat is what's making Nigma such a dominant force, I think. When with RTW coming into the roster, it's now been quite some time. You can see how they have multiple ways to punish their opponent. In this series, it did take some fine tuning. In ESL Summer, they didn't do that well, but like it's all about, I think for this team, it's once they find that rhythm and understanding of how to get to their end goal, that team philosophy, they are very, very scary. It's just in this type of qualifier where, one game suddenly backs against the wall, etc. Like they need to make sure they can eradicate that, because if they're dropping a game to the Smashers now, how close will it be against like the Liquids, the OGs, the Tundras coming later down the line? So I think they can't be too happy with this win, but still, it's good progress that they got through the first round.
Shupo, do you think that there's a possibility that Team Nigma could get found out here? Because this is a style, and that's sort of what happened at the Animajor. It's happened to them before, that teams look at this style and then do something to beat it. Would that be a worry for you against Team Nigma?
I actually think this series was a good example of them doing something different, because we talked about how their style at the Animajor was a lot of these Mars, Phoenix, AA type things, where they were just doing these massive team fights. And I think this, with picking up Timbersaw twice, shows that they're able to go in a different direction, run a different strat, and I think that leaves their options open for how they want to approach further series.
I want to finally talk about the performance of ILTW. He's relatively new to the team. Obviously, he's played a DPC season, he's played a major, and he's played ESL 1 summer. But for a lot of people who may be tuning in for him for the first time, this will be a relatively new face for them. Talk to me about how well you think he performed in this series, because this is going to be a big qualifier for him. It's his first TI.
Yeah. I think, it's the fact that he is incredibly flexible in his role, where he can become the supporting carry, he can become the win condition, he can pretty much do everything from that carry role. And that is something that kind of Nigma was missing across the kind of their formation, was just that ability to have that deep pool. Because Kuroki, when he's drafting and he thinks of an idea, like he's going to want to be able to execute that idea. He doesn't want to be hindered by, oh, I can't play that, sorry, I haven't practiced that. Like this dude is grinding out so many pubs and playing so much that he lives and breathes Dota. That kind of energy, that kind of infectious energy in the team, it sweeps across the team, and that alone will be amazing. I think back to your question about how he played in the series, I think the Drow game, the TB game, that was the forefront of like what he can bring to the team, and it's just when they find that, I think the outside of Dota stuff of what he brings, I think that is irreplaceable. I think that alone is why Nigma is looking very strong and consistently able to prove themselves as one of the top EU teams.
Do you think that kind of versatility is important for a carry sheet? Because he played 3 different carries. I mean, that's not that unusual for someone to play 3 different carries across the best of 3. But he did them all in quite a different and interesting way. Do you think that's important, or is it just his skill for you?
No, for sure. I think it's great. I also think it's good the way you can adapt to the meta. Like, he didn't do it this series, of course, but he has been playing this axe carry as well. Like, he's shown that he can pick up these new heroes, succeed on them, do well. He's clearly grinding them out, practicing them. And I think that's super important for just making sure you have the best draft going possible. As well, when you have such like a powerful player on your team like Miracle, this man's been regarded as one of the greatest like core players in Dota for so long. I think it's great when you're able to play these different ways to either help support him or also make your own game and be the star of the show.
While we wait for Kuroki, who I believe is still rooting around looking for that camera, let's talk a little bit. He's got to find it. It's very important that we see his beautiful face. If not, we'll have him as audio only. We're not delaying the interview, so you have to hear our beautiful voices as well. We're delaying while he gets ready. T-Governor, talk to me a little bit about Kuroki as a captain. This is a qualifier to attend another TI. It will be his 10th TI, which is a pretty incredible performance. From what you know about him as a captain, how do you think he will be preparing this team and marshalling them through this qualifier?
I think the main thing is it's like cool, calm, and collected with his approach. Like in all the interviews that we did with him during DPC, there was always a very controlled response on the scenarios. Like it wasn't really kind of hot-headed or anything like that. And I think that alone in captaining it's a hard to come by thing, right? Like if you're a captain, it often is because you know the most, or you think you're the best, right? And you just kind of control. But like this is not his style, and that kind of like calming aura is very, very scary, because like you're not going to really have to deal with adversity in like the normal way. Like you're going to be able to deal with pretty much anything, and that is kind of why I think him as a captain, he has been able to perform so well and do so well, is because he's got that aura and he's surrounded by the lads, the brothers, everyone who's kind of just mates, and that alone, that energy is so scary. And that's why, like I touched on it earlier with RTW, I think he has that energy as well. And like you see during the major, or like the times they flip to the camera, it's him running over to hug mind control, And it's like, this is where kind of competitive Dota has moved towards now. It's like, it's not about just having the 5 best players in the world on one team win a tournament. It's about having 5 players who are on the same page. They believe in each other no matter what. And if they have problems, they're going to overcome them together. And I think this is kind of what this team has unlocked and is striving to still continue to improve on, is that kind of ability to deal with anything. And, they lose game 1, they understand why, bounce back game 2 and 3. It's very clearly that it works. It's just finding that rhythm against like the better teams is what they're really looking for.
Sheep, I know that you've been working very hard on your own kind of mentality in pubs as you move towards kind of higher MMRs. Is that kind of mentality from Kuro something that you look at?
Yeah, I feel like having a good mentality in Dota is like the most important thing for being better at the game. Being able to play, face adversity, and reflect on yourself and your problems is super important, because otherwise you're just blaming other people. How are you going to improve from that? I think if you look at a lower MMR player, they're probably spending more time looking at their replays just to flame their teammates than they have to look at themselves.
How many supports are pinging their carry like, he can't carry me? Meanwhile, he's like had all his wards.
To win a game if you are, if you can't unify them. It's just not
talking about players together, I think we're now joined by Kuroki on the line. It's good to hear from him. Kuroki, thanks. So good to see you. Thanks so much for joining us. You must be really pleased about that win. I want to talk about the game 1 loss into the 2 victories. Was there a couple of nerves coming into the first game, or do you think it was just not your ideal game?
Hello, guys.
Hi.
Yeah, I think you hit the spot. It was very like a nerve thing. It's just hard always. When you play TI Quals, and it matters so much. Like either you can set yourself up properly or not. On top of it, we didn't really know what our opponent is about. We haven't seen them in such a long time. So I think we played bad. I'm not I'm not happy about it. Nobody of us is. And they played well. They punished us. It was just a farm fest. They had PL, and that's what happened. Yeah, pretty much.
Where you said you were unhappy with your first game performance. Obviously, you won games 2 and 3. I think you can be happy or unhappy with wins. Were those wins pleasing to you, or do you think there's still stuff to work on going forwards?
Of course, as a professional, you always look for more. There's always something to do better. There's always improvement. There is no perfect game, but we're aiming for as good as we can. I think we did a great job just switching up in game 2. We just started playing our game much more aggressive. We did what we were supposed to do in game 1 already. And so I am happy about it. Very proud of my team.
Great, good to hear. I'm going to hand over to T Governor and Sheep to ask you a couple more questions. T, have you got any great questions for Kuro?
You already kind of mentioned about the nerfs thing, but in the 6 years of competitive play from RTW, he hasn't made it to the TI main stage yet. So I guess the question was, did you have to have a different discussion with him coming into this tournament, unlike the major and DPC, about the approach to playing TI level games or the qualifier for TI, and just kind of a breakdown about that?
Not really. It's similar, like playing a major, playing TI Quals. I would even say playing the major is more nerve-wracking since it's a real LAN game.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, it's just trying to convey my and our experience to him as much as possible, what it means to play on competitive stage, how to be able to perform, get out his true potential. So it's not much different overall, I would say.
Yeah, and do you think that you said about true potential, how much further do you think that RTW can progress as a carry player? This is not his, this is his best right now. How much further do you think he can go as a carry player?
I think this kid has a lot of potential. I think this is the start of his career in a way. He had some good show-ups in the past. He played for OG and a couple of CS teams. He's still pretty young. I think he can go a long way. He's committed to the game. The heart is there. I feel he has, like I said, a lot of potential. He could become one of the greatest players, but it's up to him.
Okay. Thank you.
Sheep, time for a quick last question from you.
Yeah, one last question. What did you think of the Mirana last game? On core, it's quite unconventional. I wondered if you thought it was good, bad, like worse, or better than you expected.
I mean, it was a very hard commitment for the Phoenix, that's for sure. It's an idea they had. I respect it. It made me like play Phoenix in a different way. I couldn't commit for X like very much in the game. He rushes PKB. So at the end of the day, it shows their mentality about Phoenix, how much they respect the hero. They committed hard for it. I think it's it's a cute idea, to put it this way. But overall, like you said, it's unconventional. It can backfire very fast. But like you always gotta respect all ideas that the teams offer. It could have worked. Maybe in another game it could have worked. You never know. And like props for them for trying.
Mm-hmm. Great. Well, lots to look forward to then. We hope to see you guys much more going through the qualifiers, and good luck going forwards. Thanks so much for joining us, Kuroki. We'll see you soon.
Thank you very much.
Congrats.
Great to hear from him as always, one of the true legends of Dota. We are going to be taking a quick break, but when we're back, me and Sheep will have transformed into our alternate forms of Shiva and PPD, and we'll be right back very soon.
Good afternoon and welcome back. It is the Western European qualifiers for TI10. I'm joined by T-Gov. We will be joined by PPD in a little bit as he has some technical issues to work through, but we don't want to delay the game for that. We're going to just jump right into it because we got OG, we got Viking, T-Gov. I want to introduce this match properly.